A man is complaining about the constant rain in Raleigh, North Carolina, when nature apparently has had enough.
This sucks. Looks like it's gonna be... Oh.
When you play frame by frame at 12 seconds, you can see a bright white flash takes up most of the screen and comes from the left. That means the lightning hit extremely close, probably his parking lot if not his building, and the video immediately ends. Another dog with something to prove. Posted to YouTube by It's Just Mars in March of 2012, the uploader writes that her dog does this most nights. The clip shows the dog on high alert for 5 minutes, growling, barking, and whining. At the end of the video, the uploader says that the closet door just opened on its own. The dog appears very upset by this and is pacing around the bed. I really think that the dog was right about everything. There's something unseen in this house. When Reactor 4 burst at Chernobyl in 1986, a 10-kilometer exclusion zone was formed and thereafter was increased to 30 kilometers. The initial steam blast resulted in 2 passed away, while a further 28 passed within months of exposure. These numbers do not even touch upon the total passing toll caused by radiation, and they also don't touch upon the mutations in humans or animals in the area, which brings us to this footage published in March of 2014. The uploader states that the video is filmed at Chernobyl power plant. A close-up of an animal in the area appears to show a headless form on 4 legs running across the railroad tracks. It almost looks like a headless deer. Some in the comments say that it looks like a large deer with the face of a rabbit, or a moose with a twisted neck, and still others say the creature appears as though its neck is deformed and bending towards the opposite side. Mutant or not, kinda makes you wonder what other nightmare creatures are lurking in the area. Donna Ayers is a 33-year-old mother of 4 who, in 2015, allegedly captured real-life paranormal activity in her home. Donna shares that she had a feudal relationship with her brother before his passing in 2009. In a series of videos, Donna shared her evidence, which includes cups and decor being thrown.
Weird. Oh my gosh. The surface isn't wet or anything, it's all dry, so there's no reason for it to be moving. And it's moving again.
A chandelier swinging mysteriously, and other miscellaneous items being gently moved around. Additionally, Donna claims that she was pinned to her bed and attacked by the spirit, which resulted in physical injuries. After recording the footage, the activity apparently spiked. The multiple videos on her channel show the footage she captured. A ghost hunting channel called Holy Walkers is exploring an abandoned building at 3 a.m. to catch some spirits on video. The first thing they notice is a discarded bike and a pile of clothing in the front yard. So either people occupy this building or something extremely terrible happened here. They keep thinking they hear voices, but nothing is really getting picked up on video. One thing they do record, though, is a noise that sounds like a firework or a shot.
Yeah, what was that?
I think this sound might be paranormal, because it's hard to tell its exact location, which means it might be residual energy from a bad event. After a bit of searching, they find a discarded round on the floor. While they are pondering what could have happened here, they hear another phantom shot and all go running. Either someone was trying to scare them off, or something seriously paranormal is there. Emma is too afraid to come into her parents' room because she says she can see a bad man in there with them. When her mother asks to point where the person is, she indicates that it's in a dark closet which is open. The mother examines the closet. She doesn't see anything, but she seems to get an uneasy feeling that matches her daughter's emotions.
What, baby? Want daddy? Okay, go get daddy.
The child turns around and freezes. She is too afraid to move without her mother following closely behind her. There's something about this video that seems very dark and genuine. Obviously, the mother felt a presence too, or she would have not uploaded this video with the title of 2-year-old girl sees ghost again. Overall, more information is needed before I make a final judgment, but let me know if you think Emma was seeing something that her parents could not on that night. Ghost Tales published this video in 2013. The description reads, "Dog senses a ghost in the room. Captured on film is the ghost actually throwing the ball." The clip begins with a doll just staring into the living room. Then all of a sudden she starts barking. She retreats into the kitchen, where her owner stands filming the strange event. The dog heads slowly back into the living room, sniffing around. She creeps back in, lifting a leg tentatively as she peers out into the living room. There appears to be something draped on the table, and the dog starts barking towards it. The dog then picks up a ball it found on the floor, and then gets distracted by something else she found on the floor. Then she hears a noise that makes her spring and stare at the thing on the table again. She sniffs around it and is distracted again by the ball. Although the dog in this video does seem to be spooked by something, it doesn't appear as if the ball was thrown at it, as the author claims. But if you see it in this clip, let us know in the comments. Watch any episode of the reality TV series Most Haunted and you're likely to see some paranormal events occur. After all, haunting is in the title, but one episode in particular seems to show the first ghost caught on camera in the 15-year history of the show, in which paranormal investigators pick over haunted sites. The episode in question was filmed at South Yorkshire's Wentworth Woodhouse. Built in 1725, the private country house was forgotten in the 20th century and is often called the greatest historic house that nobody has ever heard of. The ghost appears in the form of a man strolling through a dark corridor.
Okay. Come on, if you hit one. What's that? There. Carl, I can see it now. Go for it. I'm not behind you. Get your torch.
The show's host, Yvette Fielding, called it the most groundbreaking footage we have ever recorded. But rather than giving us the answer we were looking for, it just gave us more questions. Many claimed the footage was faked, while others said it supported the hypothesis that ghosts walk among us. But the cameraman, Carl Beatty, reaffirms that this was, in fact, real. "We have never seen anything like this before. We really don't have an explanation for what we saw," he said, but the replay of the filming clearly shows the vision in detail. Spooky stuff caught on live TV. Do you have the cojones to dance with the devil? Published by Devil's Hours Production in May of 2021, this scary video sees one paranormal investigator playing around with Beelzebub. Originally filmed in March of 2013, the crew gets a spike on the meter after one of them asks the spirits to make their presence known.
Can you make your presence known?
Just so you know, Matt, we're getting a 0.1 spike on the meter right now.
As they continue onward, the meter rises and rises and rises some more. When they specifically ask the spirit to raise the meter, it does.
0.1, 1.2, 1.3.
Is that you? Speak into this device right here. I heard another one. Is that you? Speak into this device right here.
They continue walking when they suddenly hear a girl giggling. The girl remains with them, and she makes her presence known.
Spot on here.
7.6.
I just heard a little girl.
0.6.
You go up to that antenna right now and you touch it, it will go off, and that's how we can know that it's you.
The pair capture the creepy image on camera. It looks very much like a small girl, and later they hear a demonic hissing noise. Is this the soul of a little girl, or is it the devil pretending? SS3 Paranormal was editing on her computer when she heard a noise. She didn't notice what happened until after she rewatched this video. Published by SS3 Paranormal in February of 2022. You're about to see what happened. Watch closely behind her. At this point, you hear what she heard. The YouTuber notes that it was a red car that somehow managed to roll itself off the shelf. Do you see it? Just another of the many things they tried to keep secret. These two unidentified flying object sightings are eerily similar. Posted on Reddit by GamersGen. These two sightings from Miami and Beijing are comparative. The first appeared in Beijing on February 3rd, 1995. The unidentified flying object hovers as an illuminated yellow disc in the evening sky. After a while, it starts to glide slowly overhead. GamersGen posts a second video in the comments, one which looks similar to the first but was captured on October 20th, 1995. This unidentified flying object was spotted along a freeway. The driver pulled over to capture it hovering near an apartment complex and then over Miami Airport. GamersGen suggests that today, unidentified flying objects aren't seen as often for a reason. His theory? They have become more cautious, and further said, they seem to be extremely aware of us observing them, and above all, they don't want to be compromised. What do you think? It makes sense to me, and these two sightings are certainly quite similar. Is this just a smudge in the window, or is this ghost watching you? Published by Korean channel Lonely Gang in July of 2019, this scary video was originally captured in August of 2013. The footage shows a cameraman walking alongside some abandoned buildings at night. The camera turns down an alleyway when up in the corner of the window, on one of the buildings is a ghostly face, staring at him.
작년 8월 19일 여름에 찍은 거죠. 부산의 모 흉가촌이죠, 흉가촌. 눈 동그란 총각이 저를 쳐다보고 있습니다. 흉가촌에서. 자, 저기 보이십니까?
A still shot of the window shows the creepy image up close, and it looks like a semi-transparent young man looking sideways out of the window. What is the identity of this ghost? Any guesses? All I can say is that whoever this is, it clearly wants people to stay far away from this building. Trevor, aka Hitch, has a live stream channel where he travels all across the country meeting new people. The only problem is the people he meets aren't always alive. He's staying overnight at a hotel that's supposedly haunted when scary things happen to him. The kind of stuff the hotel's owner would probably never want you to see because it would be bad for business.
I've never seen anything that can be explained. I've never heard anything that could have no explanation.
He is in the middle of talking about how he's never experienced a scary moment that couldn't be explained.
And I'm doing stuff where people, I think people would be like, you'd be very...
When suddenly some weird things caught on livestream leave him laughing uncontrollably with fear. I think he's laughing to cover up an intense sense of panic. A vein is about to bust out his forehead with adrenaline, suggesting his fight or flight instincts were triggered and he was gearing up for conflict. This was not someone in his hotel room because, unless I'm mistaken, he wasn't sharing a room with anyone in this video. He was staying all by himself when the lights turned on. I guess he could have asked a random person to help him make a ghost video, but his response seems genuine, so I don't think this moment is made up. I will say as a counterpoint that many other scary livestream moments like this have turned out to be fake though, so I'm not claiming this was 100% real. I'm just saying that this was really weird and he seems freaked out. Tell me if you think he was really staying in a haunted hotel that night. I think he was. After all, when you travel to different places all over the country, it's only a matter of time before one of them ends up being haunted. A TikToker named Presley Belshare is making a video when her closet door opens from the inside. Coincidentally, it happens to be at the exact moment the male backup vocals kick in during the song, which unfortunately I don't think I can play in this video. Presley Belshare says that she did not plan this video at all. I probably believe her because when the door opens, it looks like a white flash of light comes from within the closet if you look close enough. Let me know if you think I'm way off base, or if you think you can see it too. We've all played Call of Duty, but what's it really like to be on the front line? This first-person footage will give you an idea. The Famous World published this footage in January of 2018. The video, which is 25 minutes long, is filmed from the perspective of the driver of the US Humvee. You can see more vehicles in front and someone outside guiding the driver to position the Humvee as a blockade. The driver tells his commander that the opposing forces are taking fire, which you can hear in the background.
You're looking south, right? Look where guns are firing. Kilo 05, this is truck 5. Can you give us the distance and direction over?
The driver then hops outside and fires in the direction of the opposing forces. Following some back and forth, the driver arms himself and crosses the desert in open view to cover his brothers in arms, one of whom is hurt on the ground. They load the man into one of the Humvees, and then there's a good amount of running back and forth between the barricade and the Humvee. At some point, they load up to head off. It's unclear whether the opposing forces stood down, but what is clear is the scary standoff was handled textbook by these men. There's an area in Ithaca, New York that's hiding a pretty creepy secret found by a TikToker named Lil Pack. Go on Google Earth and enter these coordinates to find it. As you walk under a bridge, keep looking up and to your left and zoom in after every step. Eventually you'll find the same pale-faced creature poking out from the shadows that Lil Pack found before. This alien-looking face almost has to be the work of graffiti and not a real bridge-dwelling monster. It looks like it's peeking out from the shadows at first, but I'm pretty sure this actually is a steel support column and not a darkened corridor. But still, I could be totally wrong. The only way to tell for sure would be to travel to this bridge in Ithaca and see what happens to you, if anything. Dan Sutherland has a very nondescript closet in his room with a plain-looking wooden door. For some reason, his baby girl Lily has taken an extreme interest in the closet lately, and he thinks he might know why.
I remind you, there's a closet. She don't know what's up there. Here we go. Watch. What you'll see over there.
There's absolutely nothing about the outside of the closet that should attract Lily's attention for a single second, but her gaze seems utterly transfixed at times. There is, however, something inside that she might be interested in, though she should have no idea of its presence or its implications. As it turns out, Lily's grandmother recently passed away, and inside of that closet is the very same shirt her grandma was wearing on that day, along with some other personal belongings. What's even more strange is that Dan recently moved them into the closet on the day before Mother's Day. Prior to this, Lily had never really taken notice of the closet much before. Now Dan is wondering if Lily is detecting her grandma's presence. And quite honestly, so am I. If you can think of any reason for Dan's daughter to look over at that ordinary looking closet, with such a pleased expression on her face for so long, then please let me know. I personally have no idea what could be holding her attention like that, except for her grandmother's comforting presence. An old hospital that was recently turned into an office building is experiencing some pretty strange activity lately, as you will soon see for yourself on this unsettling piece of security footage. Right there it starts. And that door just completely opens by itself. Just watch that one more time. So the door stays completely closed, and then just out of nowhere starts opening. And like the title says, this building is completely empty when this happens. So unless there's potentially a window open, like some sort of draft, I just can't think of any other reason why this would be happening. To provide some context on this video, the owner of the office building has said that he has seen somebody standing in the corner of this room, but he didn't want to say it was anything paranormal because he was a skeptic. However, just to make sure nothing serious was going on, he called the local authorities, and about a week later, after an alarm went off in the building, they came down to the office to come take a look, but they were unable to find anybody or anything. After checking the security camera footage, this is what they saw. So is this a haunted office building, or just something easily explainable, like a bad door that opens on its own or something? Let me know what you think. You may remember me talking about D-Menace in a previous video, but I wanted to give this video a further analysis. To describe D-Menace in short terms, the best would probably be Adrenaline Junkie. First appearing on YouTube in 2018, he has posted a variety of videos from conducting one-breath dives to venturing deep into tight caves. His videos are not for the faint of heart and can distress people with the feats he conducts. He has also posted several urban exploration videos. In June 2020, D ventured into an abandoned malt factory complex with several buildings to explore. All alone, he traveled through the dark and derelict halls. For the first half of the video, nothing particularly strange happens. D ventures through the various passages and even into the basement, finding strange and even beautiful graffiti on the walls. As he approaches the stairs to the basement, he feels apprehension as, in his words, the walls and ceiling begin to resemble the altered state of Silent Hill when it transitions to Otherworld.
I think I reached a really dangerous and scary part here, because it's starting to feel and look exactly like in Silent Hill.
After some time, he decides to continue down the depths. Here, he finds a red bed or chair, something that gives him the creeps. Written on it in German is, "Raise your legs and chill." He continues to explore the basement, but is in a constant state of discomfort from the darkness and his mind playing tricks on him. Therefore, he decides to head back upstairs. He then states part of what creeps him out about this place is the lack of wildlife residing in the building. Unlike other places he's explored, he hasn't seen a single bird or rodent since arriving. As he makes his way into the second part of the complex, he begins to feel more anxious, hearing noises around him. He admits he is unaware if it is because he is simply spooked or if there's another person inside with him. Not long after making this statement, D discovers he is, in fact, not alone in the complex. As he is showing the view out the window, a man suddenly and casually walks out from the trees. Completely oblivious, D sees and is recording him. The man walks calmly to the same building D is in, but D is clearly nervous and says he hopes the man does not have ill intent. He then hears the man speaking, but it is unknown to whom. After, D becomes quiet, listening and acting increasingly anxious. Soon he enters a similar room to where he first saw the man walking up and is startled to see a pair of legs on the other side of a hole in the wall. He quickly quiets down and kneels, but realizes the man must have heard him as the legs retreat in the opposite direction. Realizing the risk of this situation, he decides to try and exit the building. However, as he approaches a corner, the man emerges and pushes D to the ground. After some exchanged words, the two men calm down and discover it was a simple misunderstanding. The other individual, named Jonathan, is just another urban explorer who is also unsure of Dee's intentions. Luckily this time, for both men, neither were there for anything bad and were just wanting to check the place out. Dee's video is a wake-up call for anyone intending to do their own exploration or even ghost hunts. Abandoned buildings pose all sorts of hazards, mostly from the decaying condition of the structures posing physical hazards. What is often overlooked is the possibility of others in the building who could potentially be living there or committing unsavory deeds away from prying eyes. Both Dee and Jonathan were justified in their suspicion of each other, and on this occasion were able to laugh it off and even continue to explore the building together. It is likely this made the adventure safe, as the two would now be able to look out for one another in case an accident occurred. It goes as a reminder to how the paranormal is not the only thing to be afraid of on these tours. Dee was definitely thanking his lucky stars he stumbled across Jonathan, as both explorers decided to head into the basement, as Dee felt it was better to have company. Down there they find spray cans, a piece of a bicycle body, and a package. However, down a deep corridor, Dee finds a bone. While it could be misinterpreted for human, Jonathan points out it doesn't appear to be. On analysis, it more so resembles one someone would give their dog to chew on. Regardless, Dee decides to leave the bone there. Certainly an adrenaline-inducing adventure this time, and thankfully Dee made a new friend to explore with. Still goes to show how careful one must be about the place they explore, as well as who might be in it. Something lives in the dark corners of this abandoned Catholic school. Published by Exploring with Big D in January of 2022, a paranormal team is exploring the school when they hear something unholy. Listen closely. At the very beginning of the video, you'll hear an animalistic growl. It sounds like it's coming from the belly of the beast. The guys don't seem to notice it as they're filming, but they certainly did after reviewing the footage. After seeing how empty this school appears, where do you think this mysterious growl came from? It appears for now the answer to this question will remain a mystery. What would you do if you discovered this demonic face peering into your baby's crib? Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Shadow Panda. The Redditor writes that she was checking her 10-month-old son on the baby monitor when she saw something unexpected. She notes that the footage you're about to see is not edited. The baby monitor shows what looks to be a horrifying face mid-screen between two bars of the crib. Shadow Panda explains further in the comments section. It's outside of his crib, but when I went in there was nothing there. My husband even moved the tummy time mat, and the face or whatever was still there. After removing her son from the crib, she checked the monitor and the face was still visible. She shares a picture of it in the comments section, but after completing a thorough examination of the room and the crib, although she found nothing, the image vanished from the monitor. While several Redditors have theories, spanning from a bunched up blanket to the Goblin King, the Redditor admits she's completely baffled. One thing most can agree on, this monster looks bonkers. Megan uploaded an odd doorbell cam video to her TikTok account. The video says 10:29 on a Friday, but she actually saw this stranger running past her home at 5:15 that same morning. The phantom image is a little more than a glowing pair of eyes and a barely visible body that weaves in and out of focus. The blurry figure doesn't even make it past her front yard before it disappears entirely. When paused here, it looks like a person leaning forward as they run. One leg is on the ground and one hand is in the air. The question is whether or not this was a glitch, which I don't think it was, because everything else in the scene looks completely normal. This creepy moment, caught on a doorbell cam from Knoxville, Tennessee, shows a shadowy creature dart across Brian Hobbs' suburban yard and then mysteriously disappear. Bizarre, right? Okay, so maybe seeing this mysterious creature sighting one time can be explained away as a camera glitch, but when the moving shadows returns and materializes into a wild animal running the opposite way, you know this scary moment could be paranormal. This scary video goes to show that real ghost sightings caught on doorbell cam aren't limited to humans. A man is keeping an eye on his 2 daughters when he notices a 3rd child watching them from the doorway. The man quickly goes to check on his kids and finds them happily watching TV as if nothing's wrong. There's absolutely no one standing in the doorway watching them from behind the kids' gate, satisfied that everyone is safe. The father returns to the other room and checks the baby monitor again. Sure enough, the figure is standing in the exact same spot as if it never left, and this time you can clearly see one of the children looking straight at it. Apparently, this house was built in the 1940s, and the family sees this kind of thing quite often, which would explain why the father remains relatively calm instead of running out of the door. The Cooning Ghost House is a famous cottage in Ireland that has been haunted for over 100 years by a terrifying poltergeist, who was possibly brought about by a witch in the family. Not even an exorcism was enough to rid the house of its curse, and so the family fled into the woods. Now, members of a paranormal research team called NK Hauntings are ready to go exploring the abandoned building in search of the legendary poltergeist and other scary things they can find. The investigation gets off to a rocky start when they jumble their words while addressing the spirit that resides there.
If there's anybody with us, you can communicate. Sorry, I'll start that again because that made no sense.
But something must have understood what they were getting at, because a possible ghost orb disappears into one of them shortly afterwards, perhaps selecting the ghost hunter with the most agreeable aura. The team puts down paranormal devices that will only light up when something taps on them. Just standing near the device or walking by will not set off this paranormal equipment, but a ghost touching it will. It isn't long before they hear scary noises even though there is no traffic and no wind. They're arguing about which direction it comes from when they hear it again. More scary noises.
Like it will come from that direction rather than that direction.
No, I can't even hear it out here.
There, Cap, all that up beside Alex.
Here's the paranormal sound again. Some kind of rising noise just before their paranormal equipment detects a ghost tapping on it.
I can't even hear it out here.
There, Cap.
Just to be sure, they all stand away from the ghost hunting equipment and ask the poltergeist to tap their equipment again.
Or light up another, oh my god.
And when the paranormal energy resides, they are able to summon the spirit again just by casually talking about it.
This poltergeist that used to torment the family, it used to bang around up the stairs apparently in the loft area and...
Capo.
They note how cold it is in the vicinity where the poltergeist is believed to be standing, and the complete absence of life and warmth overwhelms them all. The trio activates a ghost listening device and picks up 2 words you never want to hear in a legendarily haunted house at night.
What? Murder. Was there someone hung here?
I think an EVP of a woman's cut-off scream in reply to this morbid question certainly counts as a yes. A YouTuber named Shahara Negron and her family have been experiencing some strange activity ever since they moved into a new place. Lately, her daughter has been complaining that her toys have been moving all by themselves, and one doll in particular seems to be at the center of it all.
This doll actually looks like, and it's kind of old. Wow, nothing really precious or special about it, but it just has this feeling about it.
She sits and watches the doll as orbs dance all around. It isn't long before something starts to happen.
This is some freaky. Oh, I'm about to run. What the? Whoa, what the fuck?
I was thinking that somebody hidden behind the chair was moving it, but then the recliner footrest comes out by itself at the end. As far as I know, somebody would have had to grab a lever on the side or pressed a button, but I don't see anyone. Tell me if you think this family is legitimately being haunted. A crumbling cemetery in New Orleans is crawling with restless residents. If this scary sighting is to be believed, at 18 seconds a stone slab lays on the ground as if recently removed. 20 seconds later, this mysterious figure, to use their exact words, is caught on video walking between some tombstones. This could simply be one of their friends, but if not, then seeing a random person while exploring an abandoned cemetery is really bizarre, and also more than a little creepy. They are unable to get the figure on video again, and so they leave. A YouTuber named Hello Ryan Holmes lives in a house that you and I want no part of. Scary noises have become part of a daily ritual stemming from paranormal activity, or so he suspects. So when it happens again, Ryan grabs a camera to see if he can catch a ghost on video.
Did you just hear that? I definitely just heard somebody run up the stairs.
Ryan thinks he hears creeping noises of a ghost running up the stairs. Ghost or not, he is definitely not alone. Camera in hand, Ryan gets no further than the kitchen before he realizes...
What the
all of the cabinets have mysteriously opened on their own, and when he goes to close them...
Why the is everything open? What the What the
He turns around only to find that the ghost has moved every object in his kitchen back to where it was. It looks normal at first, but I think there is an editing cut here at 2 minutes when he briefly zooms into the cabinet for no reason at all. He could have stopped recording, moved all of the objects, and then started recording again to make it seem like it was all done in one take. A quarrel with a poltergeist has only one outcome: you lose. Published by Scary Desk in September of 2021, the computer shop owner is battling for his life. The man is seen on an upper balcony of his shop at night. It sounds like it's raining. He puts his hood on and heads back toward his shop, but the minute he steps toward the door, he is thrown onto his back, falling onto the ground. You see he appears to have been pushed by a shadowy force. A young man runs to his aid from an adjacent office. As the man points in fear, what did he see? The young man looks inside but finds nothing. He then helps the owner limp to safety. What did this to this poor man? And is it the end of it? Or is it just the beginning? Original footage. This video is, admittedly, hard to keep up with. The video is original footage from 1999 that was sent to a random station or address with no further information included. The quality is understandably low and glitches out several times. A general summary is that there's a group of what appears to be several teens drinking, chatting, and playing games. One of the games that gets pulled out is the Ouija board. Things are fine at first, and after playing with the board, a few clips pass and the doorbell rings. One boy, as well as the camera person, go to check the door and see no one is there. At first it seems like a case of ding dong ditch. But as they're standing at the front door, the bell begins to ring over and over again. The lights flicker as well, and the camera glitches severely.
The doorbell's ringing. Jesus Christ!
After the terrifying incident, the group comes together to discuss what happened. Loud knocks can be heard from above or somewhere in the distance. The group travels through the house in several chopped up clips trying to locate the noise, but every time they're in one location, the noise can be heard in a different location.
Listen, they'll come again now. See, you hear that? And again? So, audience, whoever you are watching this, right now, I'm pretty much believing this house is haunted, and I'm pretty much believing we're experiencing it, yeah? A ghost situation.
The group even attempts to climb into the attic before the doorbell begins ringing again.
There, man, again! see. How the is that happening?
Once they're all inside, the doorbell ringing and knocking begins again. Another sound can be heard which sounds like a scratching or clicking.
Jesus!
Walking home in the dark is never a treat. It's even worse if you cross paths with something like this. Posted to YouTube in February of 2018 by Rohit Mukherjee. This ghost sighting was caught on camera in India. The YouTuber writes that one of his uncle's friends captured the creature on camera while returning home late from work with a friend. He writes, as he was coming down the road, he heard some noises, mostly shrieks, and he thought it might be an animal or something. As he was looking around, he saw something on the trees and pointed his mobile camera towards it, and then he saw this mysterious creature. The footage does show a figure in the trees. It looks like a human outline. At first, you assume it's just some oddity in the shadows, but then it moves. After seeing this creature, the men say, "Bug, bug," which means run, run. They then raced home and sent the video to Rohit's uncle. What do you think this figure could be? A ghost, an evil shadow, or some other strange entity? Or maybe it's just a monkey? What is it about seeing a ghost where you least expect it that sends the most unnerving chills down your spine? Posted by Leo Alcala 213 to the Chills Narrator subreddit. A group of boys are outside at night when they spot this small figure far away, cast in shadows. At first, they see him standing in front of a lit building. Later, the figure is captured in front of another building. From afar, the shadow looks like a youth standing still. The cameraman says it looks like a figurine, although it doesn't appear to be moving. In a later clip, the figure is gone. Although some in the comments say the whole thing looks staged. Redditor Gemancini writes, "Staged or not, it's creepy AF. Extra Serenity adds, you should go back and see if it's still there. Don't think I would heed this advice." In the moment, you might not catch some unexpected apparition appearing around you. It's only when you play that moment back that you find it. Published by William Villas in September of 2013. He writes in Malay, "This video was filmed on August 3rd, 2013 when we were waiting for the troops to have a video clip that was still unavailable. The video shows a group of men sitting and talking in the darkness. They appear to be sitting in a stairwell as they laugh, completely oblivious to what's going on around them. You see a girl dressed in white with long black hair and shoulders hunched forward pass by slowly at the top of the stairway. The men must not have noticed in the moment as they continue on as usual, but they sure must have gotten the scare of their lives when they watch this clip back later on, only to make this mysterious and unexpected discovery. Once you see the apparition, you watch it again, over and over, because you can't look away from it. If you plan to ghost hunt in a haunted forest, prepare to meet your doom. YouTuber Kelsey Davies and her crew encountered several paranormal events in their forest ghost hunt. First, she hears a woman's voice.
I just heard a woman humming.
That sounds more like a shout than a hum to me. Apparently Kelsey saw her too.
She was crouched down by the creek, humming, with no shoes on.
As they approach the creek in question, Susie feels like she was pushed.
You guys don't push me. I didn't. What?
Someone pushed you?
Stop.
So where's the I swear.
Don't push me. It was him.
He's staying right here.
Did someone push Susie?
Push you?
Don't push me.
When asked if somebody tried to push Susie into the water, the spirits have an answer for Kelsey.
I heard yes, and then it said we are coming. We are.
Are you guys coming?
While they continue to speak through the spirit box, one of them hears the name Susie.
Why?
I heard Susie. I swear
Oh
to
my
I heard
really?
Susie.
Oh, it said yep. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus.
It seems this spirit is out to get Susie.
Right behind you. Whoever... I can't even speak right now.
Oh, that's it, I'm here.
Yeah.
That's it, I'm
it
here.
literally said I'm here.
That's it, I'm...
The spirits repeat their intentions.
What?
That was we're all coming.
That
That literally
like
said we're all coming.
Voice, that was not like a regular
No,
voice. That was like a demonic voice.
That was really bad.
And their thirst for Susie doesn't end there.
Oh my Susie!
Yeah.
You heard that?
Yeah. I heard that's my second time.
Why do they want me so bad?
I think this is a valid question. Why are the spirits coming after Susie? And did the ghost woman by the creek try and push Susie into the water? If I were her, I'd take this as a sign to get the heck out of there. YouTube channel The Haunted Side Paranormal Investigations asks, would you keep going? But before you answer that, here's some context. In this short video, they were exploring Sutro Tunnel Ghost Town in Dayton, Nevada. Watch and answer for yourself.
Watch the door here coming on. Whoa!
And this was only upon entering. If you crossed the threshold and this happened,
Coming on. Whoa!
would you take a step further? Me neither. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Buddy and Rascal. This two-part submission starts with a photo. The Redditor wrote, caught this face while me and my mom were putting the boards on our basement windows. Our house was built in 1901. This image got a ton of upvotes with commenters praising its realness and asking for more evidence. The Redditor then posted a video writing, here is a video of our basement. I personally don't see anything, but if you guys do, please let me know. In the comments, Wrangler Greedy 2976 thought they saw movement in the crawl space at the 16-second mark.
So you walk down here, and the first thing you're greeted by is our crawl space. I don't know what light to turn on so you can see it better, but that's our crawl space. And then this is the window that the face was in. Don't like this window, but the crawl space isn't much better. There isn't very good vibes back here.
Do you see what this commenter is talking about? Nevertheless, let's hope Buddy and Rascal are able to capture more paranormal evidence in this home. Who's tapping at the window at 3 a.m.? This video by TikToker Diego Spikers will have you deadbolting your door. You can see a woman through the window aggressively knocking at the bathroom door of this apartment. But when the guy opens it to her, no one is there. Where did she go? Some in the comments say this could be After Effects editing. Others say he should have knocked back. I personally like that idea. Which side are you on here? ILMN Bono Paranormal goes exploring an abandoned factory that has become a haunted place, full of many ghost sightings ever since an accident cost several workers their lives 60 years ago. Soon they discover firsthand exactly how paranormal this place truly is.
Ne.
12 days later, he returns for more.
The big hole is there and...
No way. Some, no! Way.
He says he's done, but he doesn't mean it. Everyone keeps begging for him to go back, and so 6 days later he returns for his final paranormal exploration at the haunted abandoned factory.
You heard it. There is something.
When you go back and look again, it does look like a shadow figure is caught on tape.
Oh my god! Did you see that? Of course, it's not here anymore. I don't know if you saw that, but it was standing right here.
Standing just around the corner is a patch of darkness that is brighter than the rest. Was it a ghost sighting or somebody standing around the corner? Based on the other paranormal activity he's caught on camera, I think we all know the answer to this real ghost sighting. It's the best place to see ghosts, cemeteries of course, as these paranormal investigators confirm. They posted this haunted cemetery video in October of 2019, writing, 2 different husband and wife paranormal investigators accompany GOCM 1 week apart to investigate a known haunted cemetery. The 45-minute video includes creepy screaming heard in the darkness as the investigators examine tombstones, as well as random voices heard using an EVP, a child laughing. Some of the ghosts even ask for help to leave.
What the?
A reminder to bring your EVP along the next time you enter the cemetery. That is, if you want to communicate with the afterlife that lies beneath those hollowed grounds. A survival YouTube channel called Funky Prepper thinks they've caught a real ghost sighting caught on tape in the middle of what would therefore be a creepy haunted forest. He is talking about a tent that he likes to use when a pale ghost creeps through the woods behind him. It's not dust, it's not lighting. That's either a computer animation or the pale white outline of a ghost. Now here's the thing. The ghost encounter just so happens to occur in the middle of a sales promotion. So while this very well could be a genuine ghost sighting, the timing is a bit too much of a coincidence. It makes you think this apparition caught on tape could instead be a clever viral marketing video. Things get scary on the open road. This is yet another case of a driver gone a little too ragey. The video is self-explanatory. The Mercedes driver gets out of his car, carrying a metal pole, but the driver is on his toes. Putting pedal to the metal, he speeds off-road and leaves the would-be assailant in the dust. In my opinion, it doesn't matter what little driving infraction happened in the lead-up to this scary incident. No one should spring from their vehicle with a metal pole with the intent of getting revenge. This video is believed to have happened sometime in 2001. A person is walking around what looks like to be an old basement when they think they notice something on the floor.
What the hell's that? That on the floor. Right there.
The footage is too grainy to see, but I think he may have been looking at a shoe, or even the top of someone's head coming out from just behind the door. Suddenly, he looks up and sees some sort of white apparition glaring back at him with lifeless glowing eyes. I guess that it could just be someone who is dressed up, but there's something about his reaction that seems genuine. When you're in the middle of the woods, alone and defenseless, the last thing you want to hear is this. This horrifying sound, according to its uploader, is a cougar mating call, but what it sounds like is a woman shrieking for her life in fear or inexplicable horror, coupled with the moaning horn-like sound of an unknown creature. If you hadn't been told this was a cougar, how would you feel hearing this in the middle of the woods? I mean, maybe it's just more horrifying knowing that it is a cougar, as it might just go for your face. Redditor Eli uses Reddit, shares his opinion, saying, hearing this without thinking it's a cougar would honestly make me blank myself, with many in the thread agreeing with that summatation. Others liken the sound to a woman having her life taken, while some think it sounds like a zombie breakout or a banshee. Further in the thread, however, Redditor The Lil Hedgehog claims that this sound is not in fact a cougar, but rather really is the sound of a woman shrieking from some police body cam footage, which has been dubbed into the video. Does anyone familiar with animal sounds know what a cougar shriek actually sounds like? Whether or not it's a cougar, I'd have to agree that if I heard this noise in the forest, I would surely panic. This video comes from a YouTube channel in Poland called The Slamming Door, which was named after a loud poltergeist who frequents a small home in Europe. The owner of the home eventually sets up cameras in all of the main rooms to capture the highly aggressive spirit in action. Everything looks normal in this bedroom until about 50 seconds into the video, when the poltergeist demands to be acknowledged. It targets a video game collection and sends cases to the floor. This could have been done with a string, but watch again and it does look like an invisible entity swipes everything off the shelf in one smooth motion with their arm. Also, this is a fairly big gaming collection, so if this was fake, you'd think they would knock over something less expensive that they didn't collect or otherwise care about the condition of. This final video is what finally drove them out of the house once and for all. They enter only to find the house has been trashed, and it seems like a spirit is following them around as they explore room to room. They return to the same bedroom in the previous video, and something is in there with them that makes them jump. On the way out, the kitchen light swings wildly, and a chair briefly pulls out on its own. I wish they would have recorded the entire room so we could verify that no one was in there with them, but they were obviously in too much of a hurry to fully document the occurrence. This video begins with a YouTuber named Hallie trembling in the corner while recording a toy car on the opposite end of the room. It's possessed, she declares in a timid voice. Eventually, she gets the courage to move across the room to record it up close. The car's lights are blinking rapidly and it's making a weird humming noise. Suddenly, it springs to life.
How did you shut it off?
I'm not sure if this is a remote-controlled car or not, but I don't think so because I don't see an antenna. Also, I think I see red buttons on the back for making sound effects, and Hallie wasn't touching any of those buttons. In fact, she was all the way across the room when it turned on by itself, so I really don't know how this could have happened. According to her, everyone else in the house was asleep. Definitely be sure to let me know what you think is happening in this video. Would you invite yourself into a demon's home? Published by Toppy in December of 2021. That's what this ghost hunter did, and he would live to regret it. He quickly realizes he is not alone. After hearing faint footsteps on the floor above, he sets up his camera in the darkness. That's when this happens. Later, he is trying to communicate with the poltergeist, and he receives an answer.
Это ты всех мучил здесь.
Will he heed the spirit's warning? No, he will not, and the demon doesn't like it.
Твою мать.
Would you stay a minute longer inside this haunted place? A minute seems too long to me. A large, lonesome mansion seems like the perfect place for a channel called Abandoned World Explorer to do its thing, but they seem to miss the questionable red stain seen here at the 8-minute and 11-second mark as they tentatively test the floor to make sure they don't fall through. Most of the house looks run down, but they come across a creepy entrance that you will have to crouch down to get into. The passageway goes on for 3 full minutes until they find an even more foreboding staircase descending deeper. It looks like the steps could break away or something could reach out from below. The very bottom floor feels extremely off and wrong. He's poking around when something grabs his attention from behind.
Hello?
This odd area of the house personally gives me the feeling that someone was kept here away from the rest of the family, though I don't know why. He understandably leaves before he gets a chance to investigate what was possibly down there with him. Ryan Keelan and his friend Nick are checking out the Boca Raton Cemetery in search of 2 ghosts. One is named Mary, and the other is only known as the Screaming Man. These 2 spirits are supposed to reside in the far western part of the graveyard, where terrifying shrieks can sometimes be heard according to local reports. Ryan and his friend hope to spend a full night in the cemetery. They get to the western part around sundown and start to experience signs of the paranormal almost instantly.
This light's flickering. Look, see? No.
Soon it becomes apparent that the lights are clearly turning off in front of them wherever they go, one light at a time.
Oh, I wish.
They are sure that Mary is trying to lead them somewhere, so they reluctantly follow, using the lights as their guide. The lights continue to go out one by one until they stop at a place where they can feel her presence. Look at this part and let me know if you can see the dark silhouette of Mary's ghost on the wall. A short while later, they both see something off camera and bolt. I think there's a good chance that their terror is real because, as you can see here, Nick is so scared that he doesn't even notice his phone fall out of his pocket. Ryan returns later with a second friend, Jesse, and they find themselves once again getting led by the lights.
See, this is the light that was flickering last time. Yep, there it is again. Oh boy.
This time, Ryan decides that this is too unnerving and opts not to follow. Who knows? Mary and the Screaming Man could have been waiting for them right around the corner. Route 666 in Ohio is well known for all sorts of paranormal sightings, such as hitchhikers without a face and other demonic entities. With this in mind, a YouTuber named The Planet Earth decides to take a long drive down Route 666 at night and records everything with his dash cam. The entire 17-minute video is rife with fear and suspense as this YouTuber thinks he sees something multiple times and bravely stops the car to investigate. One part of the video is particularly concerning. Keep your eyes on the left side and tell me if you see anything weird in the darkness.
Okay. What is that?
I'm not sure if this is just a reflection of a road sign or something, but there appears to be 2 glowing eyes on the left side of the road. If these are reflective markers, then I'm not sure why someone would bother putting 2 of them in the middle of nowhere like that. With all of the rumors surrounding Route 666, I wouldn't be surprised if this red pair of eyes belonged to something supernatural, waiting for the next car to break down. The adventurer Abdullah Al-Anbar heads to the Devil's House of Evil Horror, an abandoned house somewhere in Saudi Arabia that's haunted by a poltergeist, or also known as a jinn. It doesn't take the explorer very long to discover how the house got its nickname. Whatever is in here is beyond creepy. Much to his surprise, every door opens at the same time. It's like he's being invited inside.
Bismillah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
We all saw the door slam by itself, but I bet you didn't see this elusive shadow person crouch out of sight when he first enters at 5 minutes and 10 seconds. His flashlight begins to flicker as paranormal energy gathers all around. He can sense something malevolent is near. The door is slamming repeatedly by itself. No one is hiding on the other side. That's when the jinn tries to keep him here forever.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillah. 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 Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. ايش اللي نسوي هنا؟ استغفر الله العظيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله بسم الله بسم الله.
Heavy footsteps follow him down the stairs as he bolts from the house of evil. I'd say the house lived up to its name that night based on his paranormal evidence. Amateur footage was shot somewhere in an underground sewage system. The cameraman is presumably a maintenance worker who is wearing a chest cam. Little did he expect to find a humanoid down there with him. The video begins with the cameraman seemingly frozen in place. The camera is very still, as if the maintenance worker is too afraid to move. Maybe he heard a noise and is waiting for a creature to reveal itself. Suddenly, a pair of floating eyes peer at him from the distance. The eyes appear to belong to some sort of nocturnal predator. They reflect so much light that all you can see are two gigantic white dots that are roughly as wide around as flashlights. The humanoid does not appear to have much experience with humans and seems apprehensive as it peers around the corner. It decides to run away and the cheap camera cuts out before we can see any more of the chase. The creature seems incredibly fast and probably got away, but exactly what happened next is anyone's guess. The video footage survived, so the cameraman probably did as well. Then again, maybe they recovered it from his dead body instead. There's just not enough information out there to say for sure. Aquatic researchers are stunned to see this massive shark pass by their cameras at a depth of 3,300 feet below sea level.
Here he comes again. Here he comes. Got it. Man.
Can you get him on?
Oh, whoa.
Oh, look how thick he is.
He's huge.
As the giant shark circumnavigates their equipment, the researchers try to estimate its measurements based on the space between the two laser dots. While this size falls short of an adult megalodon, some people have pointed out that this could be a juvenile. Since all scientists have to go off of is their teeth and backbone fossils, we may never know for sure. A YouTuber named DK goes ghost hunting at 3 a.m. using a mirror in his home that's apparently haunted. He sets up a camera and waits until 3 a.m. Sure enough, the video glitches out and shows what appears to be someone's hand. Also, look in the mirror itself and you'll see a face looking to the left with its eyes closed. Let me know if you see it, and if so, what you make of this haunted mirror. A kid is checking out his loose tooth in the mirror when his reflection appears to move away before he does. It happens in a split second, so you have to look closely to see it. Maybe it's just the angle, but the reflection really does appear to lean away while the child himself remains stationary. Everything from an optical illusion to a haunted mirror has been proposed with no concrete answer. So if you know the proper explanation, then be sure to let me know. Carmen's home is more haunted than ever by the previous owner, a man who lived there for 50 years and whose spirit refuses to go away anytime soon. I've covered Carmen on this channel before, but she has sent me more video evidence in an exclusive update you'll only find on Chills. The more she communicates with the apparition in her home, the more it seems to understand her. These videos were taken on 3 different spirit boxes, and the same male voice talks to her each time.
I'm gonna turn this off and listen, okay? I'm gonna listen. Holy.
Also, just no problem. Should we talk?
We should talk. I'm trying to talk to you. Is there a demon in my house? Can you tell me what color my shirt is?
Over time, its powers grow, and it seems to feed off her energy and the attention it receives.
What's your name? And the flashlight went on.
And after a while, it doesn't even need paranormal equipment to whisper to her at night. One night, while opening the front door, she discovers what it is that wants her to feel such fear. A shadow figure with demon horns stands over her for a split second, and then it's gone. And then there's this unexplained lights that follow her from room to room. I thought she was shining a flashlight against the wall, but look again. It starts out small at 2 minutes and 8 seconds. Then it gets in her face and goes away. At no point do you see a ray of light coming from her flashlight, because she's not holding one. If this is random dust, then explain why it's popping out of the chest of this creepy doll and heading straight towards her camera. The paranormal activity seems to be growing more intense, so I'll keep you updated with new events as soon as they happen, which I'm sure they will be soon. And if you're wondering why Carmen gives the ghost so much attention, it's because ignoring it apparently puts it in a foul mood and causes even worse things to occur. A Reddit user named Miss Doolittle Tex posted some really creepy things caught on camera for the Chills Narrator subreddit to analyze. A man with shifty eyes and an odd expression walks to her front door and doesn't ring it, just stands there confused. He thinks about doing who knows what next and then decides against it. He leaves her door but not her property, going on to walk around the perimeter and crossing into a neighbor's backyard without permission. He returns a short while later, running away and full of energy. Only he knows what he did for sure or how bad it was. Miss Doolittle Tex calls the police to make a report, and based on this video evidence, I think she was absolutely in the right to do so. There's no reason for him to be creeping around like that, and it's good to get everything documented early, in case things get even weirder in the future. Besides, I would want my neighbor to look out for me in the same way as I do for them. A YouTuber in Thailand named Hassan Nadapong is exploring a ghost town full of abandoned buildings to investigate. There are far too many abandoned places to go exploring on foot, so after a while he uses a drone with a high-resolution camera to take a closer look and see what mysterious sights he can capture on video. Hassan is just a normal YouTuber and not a ghost hunter by any means, so you can imagine his surprise when he finds a mysterious figure in all white wandering down the road like a zombie or something.
ไม่มีอะไร เฮ้ยใครฮะอะไรวะเนี่ยเฮ้ยเฮ้ยสันเดี๋ยวเอาโดนแกเหรอ
He tracks the strange figure with his drone and watches as it does a bizarre walk, arms outstretched, up an unkept yard and into an abandoned house, seemingly at random. The way the figure shambles from left to right does not look like a ghost sighting, but it could be someone who is about to drop from exhaustion and needs help. So Hassan knows he needs to find this person fast before it's too late. He can see his drone flying overhead, and so he follows it to the abandoned house where he saw the mysterious figure go into. The inside is trashed and large sections of wall are completely gone. It doesn't look safe for anyone to live in here, and I wonder if this is where someone would crawl to live out their last moments in relative peace. He looks everywhere, even on the second floor, and finds no evidence that anyone is here. As he goes back down the missing staircase, you can see nobody is there. But when he gets to the bottom of the steps, he sees a little ghost girl kneeling under the stairs with long black hair over her eyes. I say this could be a ghost sighting because there's no way to have missed her going up these steps. I'm guessing that he must have not noticed her presence until he was editing the video much later. Then again, considering this looks like a very generic representation of a ghost, kind of like the movie The Ring, it's also a pretty big coincidence that he just so happens to be filming over his shoulder when she appears, so I think it could be fake after all. This 10-minute video shows a toy ambulance going off at random, even though it normally requires someone to hold down the red buttons on top to make any noise. What's really weird is that it seems to respond to the voice of a child. Maybe it's just me, but it almost seems as though the ambulance was waiting for the child to count to a certain number here. It goes off a few other times, most when the child is speaking or about to speak. Oddly enough, both of these clips seem to involve the number 12. This bizarre video caught my attention on the Chills Narrators subreddit. West for President is taking a trip in Bergen, Norway, filming some birds at the harbor, when something really creepy caught him by surprise.
I am bird. What the No. Okay. What the Is that a face? Oh, what the
When he zooms in on this odd rat-like face, it is sticking out from the tunnel. I don't know if this tunnel is haunted or has an oversized creature problem or what, but it's enough to make West for President hold a scream in as he runs away. I would say that it's part of the structure, but there's no identical part on the other side of the wall. I don't know what it is, but if he thinks it's far from normal, then that's good enough for me. The next time you're at a club and the lights go out, take a look around you. You might be surrounded by extraterrestrials. Published in April of 2013 by YouTuber Grumpy Jamaican, this scary video has me questioning everything. The old footage shows an elite party at a Russian nightclub. Everyone is dancing and having fun until the power goes out and captures something unexpected. 3 of the so-called humans in the video had an inhuman quality, glowing eyes. The unsettling horror was captured on camera as the nightclubbers danced. The eyes of one woman and 2 men standing near each other all glow brightly in the darkness. No other person in their vicinity suffers the same optical glow. Unlike animals, humans have terrible night vision. Many in the comments are rightly freaked out by this discovery. YouTuber Love and Learnin notes that this cannot be a reflection. She writes, all their eyes glowed at the same time, and they were in different places with people around them, so reflection is not the light source. Are these figures extraterrestrial? Or are they humans with bioluminescent genes? Either option is troubling. A YouTuber named Chris Javier is making a random vlog around his neighborhood late at night when he gets the weird feeling that he's not alone. Moments later, the streetlight he's standing by goes off and on by itself, which he says it has never done before. He thinks it might just be his imagination, so he decides to further test the situation by directly communicating with whatever is controlling the light, which seems to respond more than once. Here's the first time.
What the heck is going on?
And then the streetlight seems to taunt him even as he walks away. Was this a coincidence, or is there no possible way?
Now it's not even turning off. As soon as I just said something about it, it turns off.
A short while later, Chris sees a disheveled figure walk out from the back alley where he was just standing. They seem totally out of it and speak aggressively to an imaginary person in front of them. At this point, Chris decides to get out of there because it's early in the morning and no one else is around. But to his surprise, the stranger soon follows. The person then abruptly returns to the back alley from where they came and begins to shudder under the same streetlight that was acting weird earlier. They seem drawn to this area and they start swinging their arms wildly in a circle, totally forgetting about Chris, as he films the scene for a while longer and then gets away, between the lights seemingly responding to Chris's voice, and a man randomly appearing from an empty back alley moments later. There just seems to be too many coincidences in this video to deny the paranormal could have been at work that night. Here's another strange sewer grate video that's worth mentioning. Huh? I have no idea what is making these high-pitched noises, and apparently neither does this person. The bleeding quiets down and then starts up again. Everything from toads to alarm systems have been proposed, but I have never heard an alarm system that makes that noise, or any other piece of equipment on Earth for that matter. If whatever is making that noise is alive, then I hope they are not suffering. Going to medical school presents many challenges: high tuition, debt, and the occasional wild animal encounter. If you were coming up the steps and saw a Black Panther animal barreling at you, you would almost certainly run. Big mistake. It's already in motion and your panic would trigger its instincts. You're not getting far. The panther starts to go into someone's room, but something makes it think twice about going in. It probably doesn't like being cornered with one exit and chooses not to go further inside. The college in Karnataka, India went into lockdown as a result of this scary CCTV video. Yeah, I guess that would do it. I should point out that this isn't all that uncommon in schools across India, and I found some other creepy videos too. Here's a leopard at a college in Nainital. Thankfully, the only prey he finds is a car passing by, but imagine a college student looking at their feet walking along this fence. They'd never see it coming. I just hope everybody's alright.
Hey Michael, is that you?
This video, known to most only as Michael Is That You, has gone viral and spawned a ton of rumors and re-uploads. People are trying to figure out what this creature is and if it's ever been sighted before. One rumor is that the eyes look similar to a February 11th, 2013 rake sighting video taken from somebody's backyard deep in the woods.
Dude, there's some glowing eyes right there.
The eyes are the same color and similarly spaced apart. It also holds its head roughly at the same angle, and like the Michael Is That You video, the eyes never once blink. On April 11th, 2013, there was a second rake sighting from the same person. And once again, this does look similar to 3 seconds into the Michael video where the creature first turns around. Although this 2013 sighting remains an unsolved mystery to this day, the same cannot be said for the Michael Is That You video. I've gotten a lot of requests to analyze this scary video, so I did some digging and here's my final analysis. While this video looks convincing, it's not real. I did some research and was able to track down the original upload to a channel called Zulu Bao Productions. I know this is the original video because it's the only upload that shows exactly how it was made in a 3D rendering program. You can see the creature itself, which isn't so scary, once it stands up straight and loses those glowing green eyes. Once he does make the arms super long and thin, and folds it into an unnatural position in the corner of the room, do we get the creepy, mysterious creature that went viral, added detailed skin texture, and we're back to horrifying. I just wanted to give credit to Zach of this channel because so many people asked me to cover this video that I knew I had to find the original source and dispel the rumors. So the next time you see this video somewhere on the internet, you'll know it was fake. This was just something Zach did for fun and practice, in his own words, on December 18th, 2019. He never expected it to go viral, but appreciates the recognition. I think he did a very convincing job, so good of a job that it is still sparking rumors and making its rounds on the internet to this day. This next video, made to raise awareness, is supposed to replicate voices in your head. Among the many visual and audio delusions is one in particular that really gets to me: a girl with no eyes who appears at random. The girl with no eyes is apparently very common and reported by many. The following scene is an example of how she usually comes to them, or rather for them.
She is here.
Nowhere is safe from the girl with no eyes, because once she is in your mind, there's nowhere to hide. This is what it's supposed to be like when she finds you. No one knows why so many people have reported seeing the exact same figure. Maybe it's a subconscious manifestation of a common fear we all have. Or maybe it's some type of possession that's driving people to madness. If this video is just a simulation, then I can only imagine how terrifying the real thing must be face to face. A man is filming this old medieval building on the Mediterranean island of Sardinia when he notices the curtains of a balcony window are peeled back slightly to reveal a small grayish object peeking out from the bottom. Zoom in, and it almost looks like a tiny face, or else the top of someone's head who is very short, perhaps a small child. It could be a reflection of the palm tree swaying in the wind, or it could be a trapped spirit staring haplessly at the world to which it no longer belongs. 3 masked men attempt a daring heist in Sydney, Australia at the Miller Shopping Centre. They are in the middle of taking jewels when literally everyone in the store decides they are not going to take this, and soon the men find themselves running for their lives. Customers and staff join together and chase the men out of the mall. Not even the fact one of the masked men is holding a sledgehammer is enough to hold back the angry vigilante mob. The 3 masked men flee into a red van and speed away with the mob close behind. With so many similar instances caught on video, it's quite a surprise to see everyone join in to chase off the robbers for once. After multiple nights of getting no sleep and experiencing a deep sense of dread, this person sets up multiple cameras to record exactly what happens to them at night. When they check out the cameras the next day, they find this strange encounter. A faint shadow appears to linger above them for a moment before fading away. It has an unnatural shape and almost seems to reach out at them. This video could be fake because this person was sleeping with their lights on, which is strange. But then again, maybe they were just trying to make sure there was plenty of light to catch the ghost on video. Some people have even suggested that this person was having an out-of-body experience during REM sleep. YouTuber Tim Morozov always encounters terrible things, but this demon takes the cake. When he requests that the demon shows itself, it does so with gusto.
Если там кто-нибудь есть, вы можете ответить мне?
Don't ask something you don't want the answer to. Later it reveals itself.
Вы меня слышите?
Well, that was terrifying, and the terror doesn't end there. Something's in the room with him. Later, he finds a toy horse in this basement room. After moving across the room, he turns to find that the horse moved.
Кто ты? Ты здесь?
When he turns on the camera in the room, he discovers the demon is near. Tim attempts to touch the demon.
Я тебя вижу. Не бойся меня. Ты умеешь разговаривать?
but the demon disappears. Where did it go? I'm afraid that Tim got too close to it, and perhaps it possessed him. This alien-like creature perplexed everyone when the footage was released to the public sometime in 2008. Shell Company says they caught it on video hanging around one of their oil platforms about 200 miles from Houston, Texas. It was eventually identified as a long-legged sea creature called the Magna Pinna squid. But even to this day, many videos still insist that this is evidence of alien life. As such, I just wanted to include this squid on the list to put the rumor to rest. If you remember one thing about the forest, remember this: it's no place for the faint of heart. Posted by Mysterio Canal in January of 2013, this video purports to show a fire witch in the forest. Translated from Spanish, Mysterio writes, "The video amateurs pursued an alleged witch on a road in southern Mexico. Running into it several times, managed to capture it in detail, looking like a being of flames or a witch. It is worth mentioning that there are many physical phenomena that can explain this event, but you have the last word." The video shows a glow in the distant darkness that shines for a moment before dimming to black. The amateur videographers are driving down a dark and bumpy dirt road at night towards the glow. Then in the midst of the road, the orange light again appears, igniting a figure in the road. What is it? Could it be the rare fire witch? According to Fixpedia Fandom Wiki, a fire witch is a rare figure in folklore that can either heal or destroy in an instant, and of course their primary source of power is the ease at which she can manipulate flames, using her ability to cause unseen destruction. These witches aren't only here to destroy, however. They are also masters at healing and may heal if they so choose. Is this mystical figure captured in the forest good or evil? Let's hope she uses her powers for the better. A ghost hunting YouTube channel called Spartan Hunters 2 explores the narrow stone corridors of the old Paulding County Jail in Ohio for any signs of the afterlife. As soon as they turn the corner, they hear something that sends shivers down my spine.
Did you hear that?
What was that?
Wow.
An anguished scream cries out from deep within the jail complex, which I'm sure most of you heard, but did you hear the creepy laughter that follows the scream? Listen really closely and you can make out the faint echoes of laughter bouncing off the walls. It happens right after he says, "Did you hear that?"
Did you hear that?
This anxiety-producing deep web video is a collection of strange clips, accompanied by multiple layers of creepy audio. After a while, it becomes increasingly demonic and obsessed with black magic imagery as the jarring audio intensifies. The video also contains multiple languages. I think this part, for example, is both Spanish and Russian. Translate this clip if you can and tell me what's going on here. This could just be an art project, but then again, maybe there's something more devious at work here. It's almost as if this video was made in as many different languages as possible to corrupt the greatest number of minds at once. Whatever they are saying, however, I'm not exactly sure. Odd lights hang around shortly after Gavin Blackshire leaves his property, and he is certain they're supernatural. The lights move over one car and back again. Never breaking their vertical formation. Someone in the comments says that it's just a spider web with rain droplets up close. I believe this explanation, but at the same time it's really weird how nothing appears until the moment he leaves. Adam McIntyre travels from Ireland to London to investigate the Woodrow High House, a house said to be haunted by the grieving ghost of a widow named Lady Helena Stanhope, who has been endlessly roaming these hallways since the 1600s. Adam and his ghost hunting pals think they encounter the spirit lady haunting this hallway, and I think they could be right.
And immediately the door starts like opening and closing.
Yeah. No, I'm actually scared.
Wait. There's literally no draft here. Wait. I don't like it. Don't scream. Oh my god.
Adam is freaking out because a ghost is slamming doors in the same hallway where he will be spending the night. He mentions Helena nicely by name, treating her like a person rather than a sideshow attraction.
This is my bedroom corridor, so I don't want her, like, Helena.
And Helena the ghost responds by closing the door gently instead of slamming it shut like before. The three of them are really scared, so they don't go right away, but they do briefly explore the room from the door, and I don't see anyone standing there. As they stand breathlessly outside, it becomes more than apparent that an apparition does not want to let them in. Finally, the nervous trio works up the courage to enter the haunted room and conduct a little paranormal experiment of their own for more evidence. They lock the door to prove that it really is slamming the door and not a draft. After a while,
Like, proper lock it. Oh, is it the wind, Kaylin? Is it the wind?
unfortunately, Adam's head is blocking the lock when it happens, so we never get to see how the ghost manages to open the door, or if it was one of them all along. Casey of a YouTube channel called Surviving Louisiana took up ghost hunting as a hobby some time ago, though lately, ever since he was contacted by a spirit named Seth, his hobby has become a way of life, and not necessarily in a good way. He wakes up to a feeling of paranormal discomfort, so he pulls out 2 pieces of ghost hunting equipment, a program that lets him communicate with spirits, and an EMF meter to measure electricity in the air. He tells Seth to stand in front of the EMF meter, and sure enough, the ghost seems to respond.
You guys make this light up a lot? Oh, good job. Good job. There's a lot of you here, huh?
The EMF meter holds a steady beep like a heartbeat, and the spirit box lets out a sigh. Seth is not afraid to tell Casey how it feels.
Very upset about it. Anger.
I think whatever program Casey's using is real, because he says out loud that Seth is upset, and then it detects Seth saying the word anger in response, or more like growling it. It kind of sounds like he says anger too when you slow down the growl.
Anger.
They try to joke around with Seth, but the spirit is having none of it. Their mirth makes the green bars spike to orange, and their EMF beeps faster than ever. Go away, it writes. Casey thinks it's telling them to put away their spirit equipment, but I'm pretty sure it's ordering them out of their own home. That was on May 20th of 2020. 11 days later, Seth barges into their bedroom late at night for another session of angry EVPs. It says 3 scary words, and notice how the EMF meter beeps excitedly when Casey repeats them.
Anyway, it says can hear you, and we're trying to figure out if it's threatening us or if it's explaining to us what's happening. We don't deal with threatening ghosts.
Keep in mind, this beeping is coming from a different piece of equipment, the EMF meter, which is on the opposite of the bed. It always seems to beep rapidly before the spirit box speaks.
Are you bad? Or are you good?
I definitely just heard a woman's voice say "my baby" more clearly than anything else so far. I would probably be out the door or even out the window by now, but I guess after weeks of paranormal activity, Casey and his wife are used to Seth, and so they carry on, and that's when things get morbid fast. They show sympathy to the woman with a missing baby, and that's when Seth comes back through the box to unleash some more messed up phrases.
Well, I'm sorry you're not with them. I'm guessing. Shovel. Getting any money out of this because I'm not. Dispose. Ooh, growling.
My baby, shovel, dispose, growling. Just saying these words out loud creates enough of a picture for me. But then Seth really drives his psychopathic points home with another final phrase.
I've never seen it go that high. Hurt. Do you hurt?
I think he does. Not himself though. Instead, those around him. Two friends are playing around with a camera in an old basement. I won't even tell you what to look for. Just watch and see if you can find anything out of the ordinary.
Bars down as I'm going. Okay. Now we're gonna do some weightlifting.
Here it is again if you missed it. Let me know if you saw this supposed shadow person on the first try. I will admit that you have really good eyes if you did. If this video is real and not just someone who is dressed up, then this is definitely one of those videos that makes you wonder what other possibly paranormal events have gone on right in front of you without noticing. Although this haunted mansion has long been abandoned, its heart is still beating. Published by Lewis Clark in October of 2021, a group of paranormal explorers came across something incredibly chilling in this haunted home. On the door outside, black handprints are pasted with a trace of what I hope is ketchup down the middle. After entering the home, Lewis shows viewers where he found a lifeless body in a fridge the last time he entered. He says the fridge has now been removed.
This is where I found the dead body, right there, in a fridge. The fridge is no longer here. Right there. That was where the fridge was.
In the darkness, Lewis plays a trick on his cameraman, but they soon find there's no need for tricks because this place is legit haunted. When they look more closely at the objects inside these canisters, they realize the chilling truth of what they are.
What is that then? What is that?
Getting a closer look, the organs appear to be hearts floating in red liquid. Although Lewis admits that they likely aren't human, how do we know for sure? I hope this team got a hold of the authorities just in case. A YouTuber named Simo Vlogs explores an abandoned building, which he and his friends stumble across a room on the top tile floor with upside down humans. They are taped many times over, and there looks to be no breathing holes. This room looks like some kind of art storage room, so maybe these are just projects. I'm not sure why they would be wrapped and hanged up like this, so if you're an artist and know what's going on here, be sure to let me know. I'm pretty sure that this video isn't real, because this room would probably stink way too bad to go near, and plus the smile doesn't exactly look like the face of someone who just came across a psycho's secret stash, but that's just my opinion. In a frightening Twitter thread, Gregory88 shares a frankly freaky series of posts about an experience in the woods, including a video that has Twitter more than a bit concerned. Greg's thread begins on November 30th, 2018, where he claims to have seen something in the woods. He tweets, even though it might not be super safe to be out alone in the woods, it still feels better than being home all the time. He continues writing that he was walking in some woods that would be pretty if they didn't feel so creepy. Just when he was starting to feel at ease, he came across something strange in a clearing, but he only made it about 30 feet before he ran into something much creepier. He posts a picture of what he found. It appears to be an animal skull of some kind, mounted on a rock within a blackened triangle. Other smaller rocks are placed around the triangle, and on the skull in some sort of ritualistic looking design. Greg writes that he discovered something new in the wilderness every day, but he isn't nearer to comprehending what's going on. He said he felt dizzy as he headed away from the rock towards his home, but again he didn't make it far before he ran into yet another fright. A hooded woman dressed in black hovering at a distance on a hillside looking at nothing. Greg says she didn't see him as he hid behind a tree. Apparently he'd seen her before in these woods, but it had been weeks since his last sighting. After she left the hillside and drifted off into the forest, Greg darted home, fearing the whole while that she'd pop out and confront him. He asks the Twitter sphere if she's a witch. If not, what are these strange ritualistic displays? He also claims the video is proof that his imagination hadn't run wild. At this point, I just want answers, and I feel like I'm getting close to getting them, Greg writes. I'm just scared of what they might be. We're all pretty scared, Greg. We all are. When a shadow passes through your security footage, you know you're not alone. Posted by Lily Monique to the Chills Narrator subreddit. Lily shares that her uncle David and her father work for mall security. She writes, "This is what my dad and uncle caught on mall security cameras where they work in the middle of the night in the parking lot. The video shows David standing in the middle of the empty lot. He remains there in the light, and no one at all is around. But then a shadow passes close to the camera, completely blocking him from view for a moment. It almost looks as if a figure glided directly in front of the security camera. If I were David, I'd be looking over my shoulder in that parking garage." When somebody finds a spider in their home, some people would swat it on the spot with the nearest object, while others would try to find some way to let it go outside. Then there are a small percentage who would grab a camera and let the spider crawl all over them, like Feo3 here.
Oh yeah. I got a spider crawling on me.
He never intended for the arachnid to take a detour across his throat and then stamp its way across his face. He manages to stay calm and only has one thing to ask.
And it's crawling on my face, isn't it?
Why, yes it is. Right towards your ear hole, unfortunately. Thinking fast, he tries to divert the spider away from his ear, but ends up encouraging it to almost burrow straight inside. He is so lucky that the spider decides not to do that, because that would have been a horrible trip to the hospital for sure. Not that having a spider in your hair is any consolation prize, but you get what I mean. If you heard an unexplainable spine-tingling sound, would you have the guts to go investigate?
What is that sound?
Published to YouTube by Jared McLean in February of 2019. He explains that he heard this terrifying noise outside at 2 in the morning. He said that the sound started out of nowhere and reminded him of a scary movie soundtrack. The noise seemed to be occurring a few blocks away, so he went to get dressed and drove over there to investigate. But the minute he went to leave, the sound ceased. Jared said he wondered if it was paranormal or some natural phenomenon. He asked for his fellow YouTubers to chime in with their theories. Some suggest it sounds like a badly tuned orchestra. Others say someone must have set off every car alarm at once. Still others believe it could be a train's brakes being applied on a nearby railroad track. And even more claim that they've heard the same sound themselves. Nash TV Guy put in his own 2 cents writing, "There are a ton of reports from all over the world of these strange sounds, with suggestions ranging from underground bases and drilling. What they all have in common is they're scary. At least we can all agree on that much. Any clue as to what this sound could be?" There's an eerie sound coming from the Golden Gate Bridge that is making people lose their minds. A constant haunting hum that can be heard from miles away. Try to guess what it is.
Oh, did you believe that? Oh my god. We didn't have to go to the parking lot.
Between the red rails is where the mysterious noise is coming from, and as it turns out, this is from a mistake in a recent redesign of the bridge. The new rails were mistakenly spaced apart just enough to let the wind come screeching through at an unbearable volume. It happened in June of 2020, and as of the time of this video, I was unable to find any evidence that it's been fixed. A YouTube channel called Mysterious Oklahoma received this video from a subscriber who claims to have kept seeing something out of the corner of their eye in one spot of their house, so they set up a camera to record. What they capture is a fast-moving creature they refer to only as the Thing, which apparently moves so fast the camera has trouble keeping up. When you pause on it, you can see a very small figure that looks to be slightly lower resolution than the rest of the video, so it might not be real. This Russian dashcam video starts with a car full of friends gawking at a figure dressed in all black, who looks very out of place standing all alone in the quiet city streets so late at night. Something feels off about the stranger, so they decide to double back and take a second look out of curiosity. This time they get a much better view at the shadowy apparition and they all yell in surprise. The cloaked figure has stepped into the street and now faces them, almost as if expecting their return. The camera's quality is admittedly not very good, but I can't make out a single discerning feature of this person's face, which makes me wonder if they even have one to begin with. It's almost as if they were a shadow person. Then again, these friends kind of sound like they were possibly making a big deal out of nothing. With that said, something about the figure's silent, menacing posture and the way it stands in place makes me think this could be a spirit after all. A real demon sighting is caught on camera according to an uploader named Esoteric Boy, a dark shadow haunting his room. He lightens the photo to reveal a tall, mysterious figure with horns. Strangest of all, the alleged demon has a goat-like face and no reflection in the mirror. Considering he has editing software, I think this could possibly be photoshopped, but if not, then it's time never to go into the room again. A YouTuber named Skits comes across a man lying motionless in his car with the door wide open. They check his pulse, which is reasonable, but instead of calling the police or an ambulance, they decide to do him a solid and drive him home to the address on his registration. I mean, it's a nice gesture and all, but if this guy was having a serious medical problem and passes away on their watch, then I'm pretty sure they could be held responsible. Anyway, when they finally pull up to his house, they let themselves in using his keys and leave him in a safe spot. Just when they think they've done their good deed for the day, something completely unexpected happens.
Bobby!
Oh, go.
We were just trying to help you.
All this poor woman sees is two strangers standing in her home over someone she knows. She probably thought they were in the middle of breaking in. They run out the door, but since they came here in someone else's car, I'm not sure where they were going, but they managed to get away. I feel like this situation could have been avoided by just knocking on the door instead of going straight inside without at least announcing themselves. The whole situation borders on the edge of being implausible. Do you think it really happened? Reddit user Pentax25 says that his dad captured something rather unnerving on his porch camera late at night on a breezy April evening. The OP says he has no idea what exactly was captured and is in need of second opinions. Take a look at this piece of footage and make sure your volume is up relatively high. That's chilling. I just wasn't expecting that scream there. That was absolutely terrifying. Really caught me off guard. Especially just that one lone scream in the middle of the night. And apparently something else is also captured here. Right there, just those very faint whispers. So that's just absolutely bizarre, this whole video between that one scream, and I know the usual explanation when it comes to these screams is, oh, it's like a fox or some sort of animal. What really I think makes this video terrifying is that that can't be the case, because there's also these very distinct whispers heard. But obviously that scream is by far just the scariest part of this video. Let's play that back one more time. Just absolutely terrifying. And there are the whispers. The video goes on for about another full minute after the last sound can be heard, but sadly, or luckily depending on how you look at it, no other sounds can be heard afterward. Opinions on what was making these terrifying noises are divided, with some saying that it could just be something simple like a fox roaming around late at night through the neighborhood or some other animal, but as you can expect, others are thinking that it could be that of a skinwalker, a creature in Navajo folklore that is said to be a dangerous witch that has the distinct ability to turn into, possess, or disguise themselves as an animal. Looking at this video footage, that description seems eerily accurate. A statue jabs another statue with a trident in the middle of the night if this video is to be believed, which I have trouble doing, aside from looking like possible special effects, because of the awkward way the statue moves. The way the camera mysteriously cuts out as soon as the trident makes contact is too much of a coincidence. This would be really creepy to see in real life, but that'd be the only way I'd be convinced that this video is actually real. When a scary video isn't self-explanatory, it's time to break out some armchair detective work. But even if you're Sherlock or Enola Holmes, you'll have a tough time connecting the dots of this video. Published to YouTube in March of 2012, Ghosts Are Real 66 writes, "Been taking video of local cemeteries for a while and examining them from frame to frame. Found the image of what looks like a ghost of a young boy from around the early 1900s by the way he is dressed. The video was taken at Kinder Cemetery, established in 1902. While scanning some tombstones at a distance, a distinct flash is caught on camera. While zooming in, you can make out a figure, although you can't really distinguish its dress. YouTuber Mainly says that he's wearing suspenders and a white shirt, but that's up for interpretation. Some think it's a reflection in a car window, others are sure it's the paranormal, and I'm leaning towards the latter." Seeing is believing. Published by Cryptic Media in October of 2007, a man is sharing his experience with the paranormal when the paranormal occurs in plain sight right behind him. The man is explaining to his friend about a time when he felt like he was ambushed in bed. He describes feeling something unseen holding him by the neck while the bottom half of his body was rising.
In bed?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Well, what happened?
No, I was just like laying in bed, you know what I'm saying? And dozed off, and when I dozed off, something like grabbed a hold of my neck right here.
But as he explains, watch the dark doorway behind him. A ghostly pale figure moves past in a flash. Although you can't make out what the figure is, it appears to be glowing. Some in the comments think it could have been someone else who lives there passing by the door, but commenter Jennifer Mills Young disagrees. She writes, "Interesting because the spirit appears to have a light source shining on it or is giving off its own in the dark hallway. It is only highlighted in part. Is this the ghost the man is talking about? Or are these guys contending with numerous phantoms?" A mother records her child happily pressing Play-Doh into different shapes, completely unaware that the toy moves twice on its own. The first time is almost unnoticeable, so watch closely.
What are you doing?
Playing Play-Doh.
The second time, however, is much more obvious. I mean, look again and you'll see both of the kids' hands are completely off of the toy when it suddenly somehow moves towards him. This video is one of the few instances where I have absolutely no counterpoint to disprove it, and I can only conclude that what you've witnessed is almost certainly paranormal. This double doll haunting recently occurred somewhere in South America. Two girls are happily talking to the camera while clutching their Barbie dolls. They are admiring their toys when suddenly their toys admire them back.
Não serve pra nada, mas a gente gosta dela. Ela não se mexe, não fala.
Both dolls twist their head all the way around to look at the girls, who scream and throw their possessed toys to the floor. You can clearly see that the girls are not holding the dolls anywhere near their heads when they start to move, so maybe it is real after all. If anyone can translate what these girls were saying, then perhaps it will help us figure out if this video is fake or legitimate after all. This oddly colored sea creature in Pfeiffer Beach, California looks like a rock until you flip it over to reveal a soft underbelly. According to the uploader, this creature started to change shape to better fit into their hand. My best guess is some type of sea sponge, but I really don't think that's it, and a park ranger didn't know what it was either, but maybe you will. In a small town in Texas, a church fitness class had begun one April morning in 2016. The attendees walked in only to find that someone had taken the instructor's life. 45-year-old Terry Bevers was found on the floor. There were no leads except for this security footage. You may think the person in this footage is someone here to help, but it's actually worn by whoever committed this terrible act. The culprit wore a full SWAT uniform, going room to room in the church, possibly looking for more victims. To this day, this person's identity remains a mystery. According to SS3 Paranormal, a number of people in their house have woken up to others' arms and legs being held up in the air while they're sleeping. They've all paid witness to this, and now it's been captured on security camera. Let's watch. The arm does appear to be held up by some unseen force. It doesn't look natural. Well, this could just be an awkward nighttime spasm. If we trust the uploader's original statement, this has happened to many in the home, which makes me think it's not pure coincidence. What do you think is going on here? While spending the night in an abandoned boarding house, the unthinkable happened. Published by Toppy in May of 2022, this paranormal crew captured whispers on camera, asking for help. These whispers are quite faint, but they think it sounds like a woman's voice. Shortly after, they hear footsteps at a distance. In a hallway of the boarding house, the team sets up a stationary camera. Apart from several EVPs, it captures this. A rock is kicked with great force down the length of the hall. Do former pupils still call this boarding house home? And what do they want with the living? This video comes from a creepy YouTube channel ominously called I Know Where She Is, whatever that's supposed to mean. Anyway, whoever's filming seems to be at some old abandoned house that's covered in years worth of trash. A loud generator blocks out all sound. They turn around as if startled and shine their flashlight on the doorway, but they don't see anything. Neither did I the first time. Look again though, and you'll see the fleeing shadow of someone retreating from the doorway. Overall, it's hard to tell if this was a phantom figure or just the angle of the flashlight playing tricks across the wall. It's 3 a.m. when a YouTuber named Spencer Smith goes exploring an abandoned mental asylum that looks haunted as can be. Most of the entrances have been sealed off and it seems like their paranormal investigation is over before it even has a chance to go wrong. But that's when they hear scary noises in the darkness.
That was not a dog. That is not a dog, listen. That's not a dog. Well, we're savages, let's go. Mate. Oh no, bro, oh my god.
I don't have the slightest clue what that animal could be, but I don't think it was a dog, so maybe it is supernatural. Anyway, they eventually find a doorway that's in complete shambles. Before they get a chance to step through, the camera goes out of focus for a few scary moments before they hear what I agree sounds like a footstep going up the nearby stairs. Stairs which clearly nobody is standing on.
Was that a footstep there? Was that an actual footstep?
They step through the doorway and are too busy investigating from room to room to realize they've already caught a ghost face in the window. At 12 minutes and 37 seconds, it's a scary face looking down and to the right. More of a demon sighting caught on tape than a ghost face in the window. They only see one apparition during this moment, but I actually see two. The other is a man peering in through the bottom left corner of the window. You can see his facial features most clearly during this moment, in which you can make out a sharp nose, thin lips, and no visible eyes. They record the rest of the asylum without much incident, and soon find themselves standing at a different entrance than the one they came through. They look down and notice they've almost fallen into a hole that leads into a drainage system, and as they laugh, something scary happens in return. It's hard to hear at first, but it seems they've actually caught another unexplained footstep on camera shortly before they ran away, this time coming from within the drain. What hides in the shadows can oftentimes be shadows themselves. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Mego White, the Redditor explains that she and her husband were away from home over a weekend and set up the motion detector Alfred camera app in their room for the surveillance. When they returned from their trip, they were met with this unusual and terrifying video. The clip shows a fuzzy bedroom backdropped by a doorway with either a light on beyond or a natural source of light casting inside the other room. That light shifts as something is apparently moving enough to set off the motion sensor. In fact, that something appears to pass right across the doorway, blocking out the light beyond for a moment. You can make out a distinct figure. It's more like a shadow or a vague or even invisible figure that still somehow manages to distort the light. There is definite movement, but from what, we can't know for sure. Redditor JJ740 asks if there was an intrusion, to which Meg answers that all the doors and windows were locked and nothing was missing. She also notes that strange things have been occurring in this house for a matter of months. Like what? Meg explains we can always see a shadow walking out of the office through the wall into my closet, and I always thought I was seeing things until we caught this on camera. She also says in another comment that her kids have heard people talking, and her 2-year-old has even started laughing at something in empty rooms of the home. A Redditor writes, "That's actually genuinely creepy." Of course, as with every potentially paranormal clip, you have your insect theories, but most agree that the clip looks legit and not edited or faked. What do you think? Are you freaked out? I certainly am. Lispy Jimmy is a popular YouTuber and streamer with a loyal audience. But when somebody drops by his house uninvited at 3 a.m., he feels alarmed instead of flattered.
What to do? I don't know what to do. I don't know if this is a fan or not, but...
Now, Lispy Jimmy finds himself in a scary predicament. He definitely does not want to go outside and risk getting attacked. But at the same time, he wants to catch this person on camera for future evidence. He decides to open the door and cautiously scans the yard. He doesn't see anything at first, but then there is some movement across the street. A tall man looks to be in distress as he paces in circles for no apparent reason at all. It's creepy enough to make Lispy Jimmy retreat into the house and check all the locks. He and his girlfriend spend the rest of the video wondering if someone else is there with them and jumping at every sound they hear. But they make it through the rest of the night without incident. I guess they could have staged this video with the help of a friend, but there's also a good chance that it could be a random fan or even an absolute stranger. There just isn't enough evidence for me to tell for sure, but I would like to get your impressions. Jennifer Garcia and her boyfriend are woken up at 1 in the morning by an alarm from their Ring cam. This weird round object floating around on a clear night is what sets off the alert. Too slow moving to be a bug, not to mention transparent. So what do you think this mysterious unexplained light could be? I'm not sure if it's a real paranormal video, but I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt and entertain the possibility of a ghost orb outside. A restaurant worker named Bogues182 says that he uploaded this video from his place of work. Some trays clatter to the ground when nobody is around. I guess he thought it was weird enough to check the tapes later that night. This is what he and the work crew saw. I suppose that someone could have been off camera throwing trays, but I'm not sure exactly where they would be standing when this happened, if that were the case. A YouTuber named Austin Shippey is using the Ouija board with a friend. They apparently make contact, but it's not necessarily the spirit's answers that make this video haunting, but rather the strange sounds that kept coming from the background. It seems like every time they ask a question, something weird happens in the background.
Hey.
Perhaps the weirdest moment of all comes at the very end of the video, when they are ready to leave.
Thank you very much for talking to us. Goodbye.
There is no reason for the pointer to squeak like that. They are on a smooth surface and are not pushing down hard at all. A doll that speaks is not mysterious, but a doll that speaks when it has no batteries certainly is. That's apparently exactly what this doll can do. If someone could please tell me what brand of doll this is, and also translate what is being said here, then maybe we can help solve this mystery. They examine the doll for a hidden battery compartment, and ultimately find nothing. According to a team of ghost hunters, this house in San Pedro, California has long been haunted by poltergeists who like to open cupboards, throw plates, change television channels, and linger in certain rooms until a mother and her 2 children felt uncomfortable enough to leave. A lot of events happened before the ghost hunters became involved and therefore were never recorded, but it wasn't uncommon for red liquid to drip from the walls of this haunted home for no explainable reason. Here is a quick clip of this happening in real time before the team's very eyes.
Everyone just left except us. Things are starting to drip out of the cabinets. Nobody believes us, but it's happening. There it is. There it is, right there. It's dripping.
Eventually, the ghosts drive the mother and her children out of the home, and the ghost hunters volunteer to stay there and investigate for several months. One day, they hear 3 loud snapping noises coming from the attic and send a man named Barry to investigate. As he later recalls, something was up there waiting for them.
Are you okay, buddy? God, look at his neck. Chef, what's behind your neck?
I don't know what's on my neck.
Come on down. A piece of rope. Barry, get down.
Barry comes back down distraught and confused, now missing his glasses. Some kind of cord is wrapped around his neck, and he insists that something had tried to choke him upstairs in the attic. The investigation was called off not long after, out of a concern for the team's personal safety. A YouTuber named Daniel finds a graveyard that is different than most others. It is in a bad state of disrepair, but beyond that, some of the graves are just plain missing.
Doesn't look like it's 6 feet deep either.
The graves could have simply been relocated, but if that were the case, then I think that the grave sites would have been filled back in. For some reason though, this graveyard has perfectly dug up graves with absolutely no evidence of a burial. There's no casket and no headstone. It's not like these plots were recently dug for a future burial either. Vegetation is slowly creeping back over them, and they are covered with a light bed of dry leaves. Whatever the explanation for the absence of these graves, one thing is for sure, clearly a lot of time has passed since they've been uncovered. When the passed on are literally beneath your feet, you're bound to step in something. Published to YouTube by Exploring with Eric in May of 2020, Eric visits a graveyard at 3 in the morning in his new series, The Devil's Hour. My objective is to document all sorts of evidence that relates to the paranormal world, whether it be poltergeist activity, any shape or form of apparitions, etc. by using my basic ghost hunting equipment. In this series, you will see myself investigate alone. During the first episode, he gets more than he bargained for. While in the cemetery, Eric finds a mausoleum. After hearing a loud knock during a spirit box session, the glass door closes. He then says he heard someone's voice, and he hopes there's no one here messing with him. Just as he decides no one's there, after wandering around the premises, he hears footsteps.
I'm gonna go ahead and show you exactly where I want to show you.
He runs up the stairs to the second floor to see who is there. But there's no one. He notices that the doors are open to the outside. As he shows his viewers a fountain in the middle of the mausoleum, he hears footsteps again. He returns to the inner mausoleum, where the doors are again closed. Finally, he decides to leave, and it's standing outside, saying he'll return again at some point. But as he pans around, a large shadow figure moves behind a nearby tree.
It's too much for me right now to handle, and like...
What was that? Is that what's been watching him? It's probably time to say goodbye. A family outing is interrupted when an unknown object floats towards them, barely noticeable at first if not for its shimmering color and odd movements just beneath the surface. As they curiously approach, they can see it's not an object floating underwater, but rather an unidentified creature, an unknown worm-like blob that makes one of them turn away in fear. This is his real reaction caught on camera. Tell me what language this is, and what's being said so we know where this video was taken from. At 37 seconds, a brave family member tries to grab it with their bare hands, and back underwater the creature goes. They claim to have a second video which, as of this time, has yet to be uploaded. According to them, the bottom of the creature has a face with one dark eye. Hopefully they upload part 2 of this creature sighting soon, so we can all see it. It looks real so far, but I will reserve my final analysis until then. A parenting channel called the Mommy Wayopedia has thousands of subscribers who are looking for heartwarming family videos. Paranormal content is not what they seek, and I don't think she's playing around when she uploaded a rather realistic ghost sighting video for fans to analyze. So here's the background story on this video. She's been seeing some weird things on CCTV camera for the past week or so, but never had the phone nearby to record and doesn't have a memory card for the camera, so she waited near the CCTV monitor for a couple of days for the paranormal entity to return, and this creepy sighting of a mysterious figure is what she has since caught on camera. The mother tries to keep the fear out of her voice as she tells her son to keep reading a book out loud.
Oh, you read the book, baby. Okay.
She doesn't want to scare him. She can't take her eyes off what she sees. Seated on the ground facing the courtyard on the first floor is this exquisitely eerie ghost sighting. A woman with long hair and a gown. She's across from the main entrance waiting for them to come out. The see-through figure does not move, but look closely and at 10 seconds, you'll see this object across from the ghost is moving all by itself, or maybe it's the wind. The Mommy Wayopedia has no idea what this ghost wants from her or her family, and is seeking advice on what to do next. I would say this is a camera glitch, but she's been seeing it on different monitors across different places, so it appears to be an actual ghost. With that in mind, the only thing left to do is either confront it or hope it goes away, and I'm not sure if either is going to get her any peace. We've seen plenty of poltergeists on top 15s, but this one is particularly aggressive. Posted to very spooky videos. A major malfunction writes, person captures saucer levitating as poltergeist takes over a room. The video begins in complete chaos as the light from an overhanging fan flashes on and off. While the fan is going, then on the wall, a picture in its frame starts to bang. A moment later, a cup levitates off the table, flings up into the air, and then falls to the floor. The man taking the video gets the heck out of there. That's right, put as many miles as you can between you and that poltergeist. Seems like Mad Max. A YouTuber named Adam Edwards is making a Disneyland vlog when suddenly something sinister decides to make an unwanted guest appearance behind him.
Hey guys, so today we're in Disneyland and I'm gonna look out the new ride.
Two hands reach out for him from behind a red curtain with long gnarled fingers. Adam quickly turns the corner and finds nothing where the hands just were. He goes back around the corner, and as soon as he starts talking, the hands return, yet when he checks again, nothing's there. I did notice that he never checks around the floor, so this could be a pre-planned prank. If that's the case, I'm guessing his friend was on the other side, and they ducked down as soon as Adam went around the corner. Still, let me know if you recognize this part of Disneyland and if you've ever experienced anything similarly strange there. Okay, here's a weird one. The closet door in this bedroom keeps opening by itself, but before I even get into that, look what happens with the lamp. Somehow the bulb becomes extremely bright and goes back to normal despite lacking a dimmer switch. After that, the closet door swings open seemingly all by itself. Tell me if you see any signs of human interference here, because I see none whatsoever.
There it goes. And as you can see, there's nothing there.
I thought they were using a hook or something on the bottom right to pull the door open, but when I watched again I saw it was just a power strip running to the lamp. If anything, the door actually moves the strip out of the way, not the other way around. The closet looks too full to hold another item, but who knows what else was in there staring at them from the other side. You might want to bring a shield and armor when this uninvited guest shows up to your family reunion. Published to YouTube by Ghosted UK in November of 2019, a group of people appears to be watching something going on off screen when all of a sudden a poltergeist pops up beside them. Something up on a shelf is sent crashing to the ground. Startled, the group all turns to look and most start laughing.
Your knees, Andrew, for some reason.
It's unclear what the disturbance was and what object was flung, but it seems to have been thrown with some aggression. Would you be laughing if this happened to you? A wild dog takes a piece of meat into the corner and devours it in large bites. The dog's ribs jut out, and I'm willing to bet it hasn't seen a meal like this in a long time. It's no doubt willing to do whatever to keep this food, and in a moment you're about to see for yourself. The animal tenses up and then charges the camera. At the 6-second mark, you can see it appears to chomp the fence in an attempt to get to them. Luckily, the cameraman appears to be alright. Walking down an empty hallway can sometimes send shivers all over your body, especially when the hallway looks like this. Spurgburglar from Washington in the US uploaded this spooky video in 2016. He says that his flat is upstairs, and he makes his way through this hallway in the middle of the night 6 days a week. The hallway in and of itself is spooky. The sound on top of it is nothing short of ominous. The noise certainly is thumping and rhythmic like music, but it's unclear what it is or where it's coming from. It gets louder as the uploader approaches the end of the hallway and the beginning of a new one. A new sound enters into the mix, like a heart pounding. While the thumping declines, the heart pounding remains. Then you hear some sort of haunting music enter in faintly. Before it escalates, the closer he gets to the elevator. The video of the hallway also distorts a bit. Your heart races as you anticipate a jump scare from something unknown, but when he pushes the elevator button, the audio disappears. What could this possibly be? I don't know if I want to know. My Dark Journal is a collection of abstract videos that many people are certain contain hidden messages and deeper meanings, perhaps even clues about a woman who lost her life. The latest video, simply called Wither, starts off with a snowy lamppost and ends with a strange woman walking down the stairs. In the description is a link to a video on a completely different YouTube channel. This video, called Whisper, has images of evil looking building schematics and what appears to be some type of old language. I don't expect anyone to really be able to translate the words on that last page, but I'm hoping that someone can. Anyway, in the description box of the Whisper video is a link to yet another video on a YouTube channel called The Oracle of Lies. This third and final video is called Wayne. It shows an old desolate road and more weird imagery, including the same mysterious woman from the first video, Wither. I'm not sure if there are any hidden messages in any of these videos, but there certainly could be. No fourth video is linked, and the odd trifecta ends there. This could be a simple art montage, or it could be the real thing, maybe even something from the depths of the dark web. If you are able to make sense of any of these videos, even just a single part, then please let me know what it all means. A man finds himself trapped on the 30th floor of the Shinjuku Center building in Tokyo after the entire city was rocked by a 9.1 quake. Now nowhere is safe and there is nothing left to do except to record as doors and cabinets swing open uncontrollably and the entire building shakes.
Oh!
Everything grows eerily silent, and then this voice cuts through the speakers. There is a lot of frantic chatter in the background, so I think it was a live broadcast, not a recording. Try and translate if you can, because if you were there, your life may have very well have depended on following these instructions. この建物は地震に対して安全な設計になっております. After a while, the speakers turn off, and the guest hopelessly watches as the buildings sway like trees. It's kind of hard to see what I'm talking about, because the building he's in is shaking too. This second video, taken near the top floor of the Shinjuku Center building, shows how bad the shaking really was. The buildings look like they are going to topple at any moment, but they are actually designed to be incredibly flexible and can withstand intense vibrations. Keep in mind that these are just the smaller aftershocks and not the actual quake itself, which was, believe it or not, much worse. Two friends are walking down the street completely unaware of a scary paranormal encounter waiting to unfold at random.
Right here, look at it. Look at it, look at it, it's following them. Look at it, look at it.
A strange black mist slowly descends out of nowhere. I do find the timing to be an eerie coincidence and agree this could be paranormal. With that said, the friend on the right seems to sense an apparition more than he sees it. He doesn't necessarily look terrified, but he does bring his hand up to his chin as if he is uncertain of something nearby. The other friend does not appear to see anything at all. If this was a ghost, then maybe the camera was recording something that neither one of them could fully perceive. Then again, this looks like it could be an out-of-focus insect walking along the camera lens. Let me know which possibility you think is the real answer. This is definitely one of the scariest videos ever posted on my Chills Narrator subreddit by far. It was found on a random Discord and probably was floating around some nefarious parts of the web long before getting sent my way. A teenager whose identity remains unknown hears a strange noise outside of his room and decides to investigate. He doesn't make it very far before he finds his investigation has gone wrong in a terrifying way. His final scary moments are caught on camera and it looks pretty grim.
See, I'm gonna go out there and look.
A slight smirk shows he never expected an unknown creature to descend upon him from within the darkened doorway. He doesn't have a chance to properly scream before the mysterious animal-like figure is on him, in a single scary moment that probably ended badly. The creature's snout and a dog-like face are visible moments before it strikes at 5 seconds, along with 2 beady white eyes. So maybe this is a dogman sighting caught on tape, and something that's beyond creepy. These weird white streaks of light look to be the dogman's claws, and they're coming straight down towards this kid's head. Freaky, right? Kevin LaShawn and his large group of friends feel fairly safe doing a 24-hour challenge in a mental asylum that's supposed to be haunted. They aren't expecting to find much, and for a while they don't. However, 2 experiments stand out in particular. First, they invite the ghosts to play a game of cards with them by setting up flashlights in a semicircle. The flashlights stay turned off during most of this experiment, but they do seem to repeatedly respond when one person in particular comes to the table. Perhaps this person has a natural tendency to attract spirits more than the others.
I guess they want you to play a game. Come over here and sit by me. They want you to play a game.
Whoa. These flashlights are turning on by themselves.
Later, Kevin is playing with an app on his phone that is supposed to communicate with ghosts when he gets some pretty interesting responses.
Is anybody in here? What's your name? My name's Kevin. What's your name?
Even if this app is programmed to say scripted phrases at random intervals, I do think it's odd that it says something similar to Kevin's name shortly after he introduces himself. Overall, Kevin is unable to verify that this location is haunted, though many of his viewers have decided it most likely is. Let me know what you think about this entry, and what other experiments Kevin and his friends could have done to summon any spirits. While at the Miami Air and Sea Show, David Sugarman spotted something unusual while reviewing his videos. Watch closely and you'll see a vertical object fly up in front of the plane. David says he filmed the video in slow motion, so whatever this object is, it's moving fast. Let's see it again. While some Twitter users think this could be a drone, David says there were no drones allowed because of the air show. Most agree that it does appear to come out of the water, and it looks that way to me as well. It's definitely a UFO in that it's an unidentified flying object, but is it that kind of UFO? You know, the kind we all want it to be. I'm stumped on this one. Published by Diane Frazier. This paranormal team spent some time with the Shadow Man. In their communication with him, he revealed he lost his wife and blamed himself for her passing, saying he felt like he had a hole in his heart.
How are you feeling about us coming here to talk to you? Does that make you happy?
Black.
The team captured 2 photographs which they have interpreted. This one is the Shadow Man, revealing the hole in his heart from losing his wife. The second, they believe, shows the couple reunited and entering into the beyond together. Are these interpretations correct? Did the Shadow Man and his beloved wife reunite? This is the story I want to believe, and to me, the photographs do look quite convincing. What do you think? A YouTuber named Matthew Van Hughes is enjoying nature when he hears a loud voice of someone who apparently isn't. Listen to this part and tell me if you can literally hear the word help being said, because I think I can. The sound quiets down and then switches over to something far less human. Skeptics think that this is some kind of wild animal, but I think I can hear English being spoken here, but I can't tell what. Maybe the words "don't take me." Let me know what you hear. When he gets to the bottom off the cliff, nothing is there. Matthew waits for an hour and doesn't hear anything else, so he leaves whatever it was to take their final breaths. A YouTuber named Stromedy and his friend journey into a maze of tunnels deep underground to conjure the spirit of a girl who supposedly had her life forcibly taken down there long ago. They don't appear to be very serious in the beginning, but their attitude soon changes when they think they've summoned a relatively friendly spirit named Abby. Then roughly 9 minutes into the video, they feel another presence enter and this happens.
Oh, dude, it's doing figure eights again.
What?
Can you stop? Can you please?
Yeah. Holy.
That's freaking creepy. I'm gonna ask it. Whoa!
They briefly consider leaving, but then Kyle volunteers to look through the middle of the pointer instead. Earlier, Abby said whoever does this will be able to see her true form. Kyle bravely puts the pointer to his eye and peers into the unknown.
Kyle, you there, bro? Kyle. Dude, seriously. Dude.
Let's just go. Let's go back. I know what you mean now. Let's go back.
Did you see her? What'd you see?
Let's go grab the board and let's go.
I think his reaction seems fairly genuine, but let me know if you agree or not. There are mysterious happenings that can be explained, and others to which there is no answer. Guess which one this mystery is. Posted to the Chills Narrators subreddit by EBB Puzzleheaded, and originally published to YouTube by Daniel Robb. In May of 2020, these screams in the Texan night sky are sure to set your hair on end. In the clip, the uploader explains that there's a sound in the distance, screaming that seems to be coming from the sky, and you can regularly hear the eerie screech off and on for nearly 8 minutes.
What is that bizarre sound?
The uploader Daniel Robb says this happened between 8:30 and 9:30 p.m. and that it sounded like a banshee, followed by several voices whooping. He says the sound filled the entire night sky. Others in the comments agree that it's demonic or banshee-esque, citing the end of times. Redditor I Have No Purpose in Life notes that the screams occur alongside the lightning strikes and wonders if they might be interconnected. I guess we may never know the actual answer. A ghost boy, known as a pukong in Indonesian, was captured on film in this cemetery. Posted by Antarija, a cameraman is wandering a cemetery at night when he turns to spot this figure. The figure is standing wrapped like a mummy. The distorted face is barely discernible, and the cameraman quickly turns and flees into the darkness. He keeps turning back and somehow the figure is closer and closer. Its horrifying face is what nightmares are made of. It's not clear if the thing is chasing him, but it does seem to be on his tail. Did he make it out alive? Or are one of these graves for him? Let's hope not. Jelly Spotters is making a YouTube video with a homemade Ouija board. They barely get out a few questions before one of the candles starts to do something really weird.
W-R-T. What? You see that candle? Okay.
Jelly Spotters is not standing near any fans and all of the windows are closed. Plus, if it was the wind, then the other candles should go out as well. After a while, it becomes apparent that the spirit is using the candle to answer them instead of the board.
Do you want to say goodbye? Do you want us to leave? Can we please say goodbye? Yes? Alright, let's go.
Shima Luan was once an illustrator who worked for the YouTube channel Danger Dolan. Her last video, which was uploaded over 2 years ago, has since left fans curious, worried, and upset at her unannounced disappearance. That's because the very last video ever made on her channel was celebrating the 50,000 subscriber mark, and it contained nothing but optimistic remarks about the future, like this one for example.
You guys have been asking me a lot of questions, and a lot of stuff that I can answer in the FAQ videos, which I know I'm behind on, but that's okay.
So it's obvious that, as of this final upload, Shima was still encouraging fans to interact with her, and appears to have every intention of continuing the channel. I personally have never seen a YouTube channel celebrate a milestone victory and then suddenly stop altogether, so I definitely find this turn of events to be odd. With that said, Danger Dolan's channel has since claimed to have contacted Shima, and claims that she's safe, but not all of her fans agree. Theories about an argument and potential foul play are circulating the internet, though I find all of them hard to believe since Shima is in the United States and Danger Dolan is all the way in Australia. The scenarios are mostly just speculation without much evidence in my opinion, but I'd like to get yours. A pet snapping turtle doesn't take kindly to its owners and already has its mouth open. The warning sign goes unheeded, but thankfully one of his friends inadvertently saves him by getting his attentions moments before this happens.
He said, "What's up?"
This was almost a solid chunk of flesh taken out of his face, and a trip for medical attention for certain. Well, we've all heard the story of Ol' Nessie, aka the Loch Ness Monster. You haven't seen anything like this footage. Published by Mark Hayes in October of 2014, the mythical creature surfaces in this scary video. The footage shows something large adrift in the middle of Loch Ness. The enormous creature breaks the surface with its eel-like body. It weaves around the lake, coming closer and closer toward the camera. Birds fly down, appearing to land on its back for a moment before flying off again. The creature's body even seems to curve up out of the water. While I've never seen a more convincing Nessie video, skeptics in the comments have me questioning things. Some commenters say it moves too rigidly and mechanically, and is more likely to be an underwater cable or a water dredge system utilizing a hose. Others think it could be an animal, not a monster, with Sue Copening writing, "Recently they have found eel DNA in the lochs in great numbers. Nessie could simply be members of a large species of eel, or perhaps eels. Is that all Nessie is? A gigantic eel?" It certainly has me questioning things. It's always unnerving when a complete stranger shows up on your doorstep, but even more so when it's someone acting like this guy. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Miss Doolittle Tex, the Redditor explains that this man showed up on her doorstep and just stood there, not ringing the doorbell. The video shows exactly that. He walks slowly and haphazardly to the door, carrying some plastic bags. Then he just stands there for a moment, appearing to be listening at her door, before turning around and heading back up the sidewalk. He isn't wearing a mask, and as the Redditor says, left as soon as her dogs started barking, but not for long. He is seen on another security camera, walking along some grass behind the houses. He simply strolls along the water and then disappears, but moments later is seen racing back, jumping fences along the way. Apparently someone had also trespassed on her neighbor's property the previous night. It's unclear what he did there, how long he stayed, or what or who he's fleeing from, but the Redditor didn't want to find out what his plans were. She called the authorities. This man doesn't appear to be in his right mind. Whatever this man's situation, most agree calling the authorities was the right thing to do. This driver records a potentially supernatural highway encounter that leaves him speechless and terrified. According to the driver, this person was missing their head. Look again and you'll see it does look like they have no head, but it's probably just the way the headlights overpower the camera. There's just one thing though, even when they do get past the headlights, it still appears as if there is nothing above their shoulders. No one's getting any sleep in this room tonight. Published by Amma Media Channel in April of 2022. A woman is trying to catch some Z's in bed. when a poltergeist takes over the room. First, it causes this baby swing to jerk around erratically, which wakes the woman up. She gets up and holds it still, which it is for a moment, but then it starts to swing like crazy again. The woman seems to think it's the wind. She checks the window. When the chair is still again, something flies from off the top of the wardrobe. A moment later, the closet door creaks open and then swings open further. The baby swing starts moving briefly. A moment later, something creepy appears in the mirror of the wardrobe door. What is it? But I'd guess that it's what's causing all the chaos. There's a YouTube channel called Happy Life that ironically explores some of the most miserably haunted places in all of Pakistan. Happy Life began as a spiritual advice channel, and now they hope to better understand the darker side of spirituality through paranormal investigations like this one. This time, the Happy Life crew intends to check out a haunted school where numerous students were said to have lost their lives. Early on, they encounter a poltergeist who is intent on chasing them away. The first encounter sounds like it's throwing plates, but then it graduates to a heavy bottle that could have really done them harm. Doors also repeatedly close as if something really doesn't want them to go any further. But the more I look at it, the more I think the cameraman is responsible for all of this rather than a ghost. The objects always just so happen to be thrown from the cameraman's direction, a strange coincidence, and the camera person always seems to be within arm's reach whenever the doors close, so I think he is either kicking it or else pushing it shut with his free hand. But when they get to the very top of the school, they find this mysterious red streak of dried up liquid overlooking the balcony. So even though parts of this video may have possibly been embellished, perhaps a student really did lose their life here after all. The situation only gets weirder when they come across a star in the hall that could have been used as a ritual or simply drawn by them to make the video scarier. I think it could be real though, because look what happens soon after one of them kneels in the middle. The way it echoes down the hall sounds forcefully loud and possibly real. One of them explores a room, while the other records from outside the window. No one else is nearby, so then tell me who is responsible for what happens next. They decide the inside is too dangerous to go any further and stick to the outer perimeter. Eventually, they come across a shallow well that gives off a residual negative energy that could be left over from a terrible and tragic event. Something compels them to climb inside, and sure enough, the dirt has been freshly disturbed. An orb passes left to right over the small grave as he plucks this fragment of human and holds it to the camera. Residents in Tallahassee, Florida, feared for their lives when this strange and haunting sound echoed throughout their area for over 20 minutes.
It's not back that way, it's up in this corner. Don't go out there.
There's little doubt that this video is real, as you can hear the fear in the family's voices.
Get the kids in the bathroom. I hear the wind. Get the kids in the bathroom. Get in the bathroom.
I thought it was a tornado, but the person in the video doesn't. They called 911 and learned that police were apparently flooded with concerned complaints about the noise. The person who recorded this footage says that the local news was told to report this as an airplane. This doesn't really sound like an airplane to me. There's one other strange occurrence, a sudden flash of lightning that instantly makes the noise disappear.
I don't hear it anymore, Tim.
I've never been in a tornado before, so I can't say if this video looks normal or not. I'm especially looking for opinions from people who have been in one. Do you agree with the uploader that this could have been something more than a tornado, like a government weather experiment? Afraid of heights? Look away or this one might get you. The video illustrates the day-to-day of those who climb tall towers to work on the antennas and transmission lines of the world's tallest skyscrapers. Imagine starting out your workday with a fierce climb. The clip, from the tower climber's point of view, shows the climb up a 1,768-foot tower, and it's a rough one. Don't worry, there's an elevator up to the 1,600-foot point. Still, the rest of the upward ascent is nothing short of daunting. 168 feet of climbing up a ladder, carrying a 30-pound tool bag, which hangs via a rope below you. With this frightening view all around, no thanks. At the top of the tower, the climber is no longer surrounded by the metal structure. Now he's free climbing up small rungs with nothing surrounding him, should he lose his footing. I suppose this is what gives us goosebumps with these types of clips. With one wrong step, one wrong move, a stroke of bad luck, or the wrath of nature, the climber is moments away from a long fall. When you think you're home alone, and then this happens. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Esco Season 95, the Redditor writes, I was messing around with my dog, just us two were home, and my door did this. The video shows the Redditor playing with her dog's mouth, baring his teeth, when suddenly behind him, the door, which is opened into the bedroom, slowly swings closed before slamming shut. She specifies that her door never closes like this, and there were no doors or windows open to create a draft. While some think there are too many ways to fake videos with closing doors, others don't believe it's faked, but cite air pressure or other circumstances that might have caused this. Dark Lord of Pretzels writes, whether or not it's paranormal doesn't matter, because if I was home alone and that exact scenario happened to me, I'd nope out of there so fast. I feel like most of us would agree with that statement. A YouTuber named Exploring with Perks is checking out an old abandoned home with one of the creepiest basements he has ever seen. Possible remains rest outside of an old hole in the wall, with the rest of the body possibly on the other side. And later on, he finds the remnants of what I hope is just a stuffed animal. Then he gets out fast. I can't say I blame him. It's after midnight and a YouTuber named Angie, the Green-Eyed Angel, is exploring a ghost town that is completely abandoned. She isn't even finished the introduction to her video before weird stuff starts happening. It took me a couple of listens, but I can actually hear the wind whispering her name here.
Abandoned ghost town. Hopefully you can see it behind me. I swear, I just heard my name.
Apparently the wind has other things to say as well. Strange noises continue to follow Angie as she sneaks through old buildings filled with spiderwebs and rotting architecture. After about 20 minutes of exploring, Angie stops and thinks she sees a grayish figure looking back at her.
Oh, I don't know if the camera can even see it.
Footsteps from behind send her screaming into the night. Sometimes when you get that feeling that you're being watched, you may discover you are. Posted by Kuno to TikTok, this footage was filmed in Kuno's room, and according to him, no one was home at the time. When creating a video, you're usually pretty oblivious to what's going on around you as you focus in on the task at hand. That's what Kuno appears to be doing as he sings his heart out. But look behind him in the doorway and your heart might skip a beat as you see what appears to be a mysterious figure. The black outline pops up over his shoulder, backlit by some white light, while Kuno remains completely unaware of its presence. The form lingers for a moment before disappearing out of sight once again. It's difficult to discern who or what this figure is, but if you've ever watched a scary movie in your life, you're probably shouting at Kuno to stop singing and turn around. This footage shows that whether or not you think you are home alone, you may be entirely wrong in that assumption. Isn't nature beautiful? This video shows us it's actually terrifying. Redditor Sarah in Alaska shared this clip of the stunning Alaskan wilderness, but listen closely to the audio. She's wondering if viewers hear a voice, and if so, if you can tell what it's saying. Redditor Endangered Mind 2 suggests that the voice says, "Race back down," and Sarah agrees. As they just reached the summit, after listening repeatedly, I agree that this is what it sounds like, but the voice is not theirs. So whose is it? I don't have any answers, but I think I'd keep off this trail for a while, or never hike it again. This house is most haunted. YouTuber Sandro Silva CS investigates the creepy place in this scary video. When they arrive at the house, they're immediately frightened.
Tô lá dentro? Ô, viado, por Deus, sabe que eu vi na janela. Ô, Sandro, por Deus do céu. O que? Ô, Sandro, vamos sair daqui. Sandro, verdade. O que você viu? Sandro, eu vi. O que você viu, louco? Sandro, eu vi uma pessoa na janela.
But what scared them? Inside, they find no one.
Pra você, cara. Sandro, vamos sair daqui, ó. Não entra. Trava. Sandro, eu vi mesmo, cara. Ô, viado. Sandro, calma, Dani. Isso aí, homem.
But then they hear a noise.
Estranho. Ô, viado. Vai ser lascado. O cara bateu com força aquele troço lá, cara.
And that's not the end of it.
Moça, eu tô com medo de ir na frente. Ô, viado. Ô, Sandro. Olha onde que voa essa cadeira. Sai daqui, ó. Nossa, Nossa Senhora do céu, cara. Começou já. Começou.
Was there a spirit in the room with them, or just a trapped animal? I think the sound is more spirited than scared. In fact, it seems to me like it's wanting to scare us. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by A Growing Lotus, filmed in the Inland Empire in Southern California. This redditor suspects these lights are a part of an unidentified flying object. Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about.
Is there 3 of them?
Yeah, it's like 3. What is that? But then, Mom, stars? What the heck is?
Keep recording it, because that is weird. And the way they're moving, like up and down, airplanes don't do that. Airplanes don't move up and down like that.
And it's not a drone either.
What? The other one's kind of disappearing.
There was certainly some debate about this video in the comments. Adventurous Ad 2736 wondered if they were paper lanterns, to which the uploader responded saying, "They move too fast up and down, and I don't think paper lanterns can do that." And Faded Claws YT wrote, "It's probably just those drones people use for light shows and stuff," to which the uploader responded saying, "They didn't look like drones in person, but who knows? They were extremely bright. You can't tell in the video, unfortunately, and they disappeared eventually. So which side are you on here? Paper lanterns, drones, or a legit unidentified flying object? Let me know in the comments."
I thought I was hallucinating at first.
And now the other one's like already
Disappearing. I'm having like a really weird deja vu feeling.
Just go away now.
But the other one's kind of disappearing. Did they just disappear? The first one.
There's one right there. There's 2 on that side.
Is your child seeing things, or is there something to her visions? Posted by Colin71514 to the Chills Narrator subreddit. This story and subsequent video will send chills down your spine. The Redditor explains that her story begins in December of 2018. The couple had bought their 4.5-year-old daughter a secondhand baby doll. Things were pretty normal until they weren't. After about 2 weeks, Colin's daughter started breaking things for no reason. Thinking it was just a phase, the parents didn't worry too much about it. The daughter then started wanting to sleep in their room, saying a little girl kept waking her up at 3 in the morning. This went on for 2 months until her father got an uneasy feeling about the doll and decided to throw it in a dumpster far away. This brings us to the video in question. The daughter is seen in the room playing on her table on the bed. She moves off the bed shouting for her dad, then looks up at the window beyond and starts to scream. The Redditor says her daughter claims she saw an old woman in the window. Exterior cameras didn't capture anything near their home. Considering the Redditor herself and her husband experienced odd things in this home as well, perhaps this is more than just a child's imagination. Lewis Clark and his friends want to check out this old abandoned train up close to see what's in it. All the train cars are mostly empty, but then they see something horrible in the caboose.
What is that? What? What the Oh my god.
The sheets are covered in red splotches and appear to have something heavy underneath them, but Lewis Clark and his friends don't dare unwrap them. They run away from the scene as fast as possible instead, jumping over a second sheet in the process. What was under these sheets, if anything, is anyone's guess, though many have speculated that both incidents could have been covering an actual body. As far as I know, Lewis Clark and his friends have not returned to unwrap the sheets, and they probably never will. Is my house haunted? Writes a user named BB5432 on the haunted subreddit. This paranormal video of their place was caught on a neighbor's doorbell cam across the street, who later showed it to her out of concern. It doesn't look like much at first, but there's actually a lot of creepy things going on in this video that you might not see. But first, let's start with the basics. The Reddit poster claims her house was completely dark when these mysterious, unexplained lights started flashing all around the door. The television in the living room was not on, she says, and even if it were on, it's facing the opposite way at an angle that would not create this effect at all. Whether or not to believe her is up to you. I do, because the flashing seems too bright for a television and takes up the whole window at times. Nobody would watch a television screen that bright because it would undoubtedly hurt to look at for that long. And at 25 seconds, the creepy light grows even brighter and does not subside until the video ends. BB5432 later posted, she has no further reason to think their house is haunted, but still struggles to explain what this was if not a ghost. She adds the same thing happened to her years ago. The same neighbor showing her and her husband lights in their door, and nobody could figure it out then either. Someone said they should check the electrical wiring in that room, which I agree is a good move. But other than that, everyone else says this is super weird, and even she has to admit she's creeped out. There's also one more weird thing that I wasn't even going to mention, except she saw it too. A shadow figure in the doorway. You can see it whenever the lights go down, but it's probably most apparent at 4 seconds. I took a still image and zoomed in. Here it is with no special effects whatsoever. The outline of a shadow figure looking out the window. Tell me if you can see it too. I'd say that house is haunted, if that's not a resident. These guys are trying to communicate with a spirit at their clinic office, specifically Jen. To determine who they're talking to, they use flashlights.
We're gonna say, oh, I think it's cool with that. We're gonna say the alphabet, and whichever one your name is, can you please turn off the flashlight on that letter, okay?
When they arrive at J,
H, I, J.
Jen. Yeah, it's Jen, I think, or something tied to Jen. It has to.
But another flashlight is directed by a second spirit.
Another one, right? That's a different spirit. Okay. K, L, M, N. Okay.
They're trying to figure out which of the spirits wrote the note or were somehow connected to it.
If you're not connected to it, turn off your flashlight. Daniel's not connected to it.
So Jen is.
So Jen is.
I knew it.
And finally, they ask Jen.
Jen, were you the one that wrote the note? Oh. Wait, but she's connected to it, so she didn't.
Do you know who wrote the note? Were you here when they wrote the note?
Although the Redditor doesn't explain in the comments, what note he's asking the spirits about. According to him, Nathaniel once scratched him. I'm really not sure if he should be keeping the lines of communication open with an entity this aggressive. This paranormal investigator's creepiest capture in a cemetery is bone-chilling. The YouTuber was exploring the hauntings at St. Joseph Cemetery near Kimswick, Missouri, when she captured several EVPs.
Michael?
Later, while she was attempting to communicate with the passed on using a spirit box, Michael made his physical cameo. Watch to the right, just above the vehicle.
Which grave is yours?
Nobody appears to be in the vicinity, so to whom does this shadow belong? I vote for Michael. Jonathan Savo published this video in January 2015. After visiting his girlfriend in a Paris hospital, he wrote that a woman in the next bed was roaring and screeching with the voice of a devil, and that's what the video captures. The woman is seen lying flat in a bed, speaking in a raspy, evil voice. She is harassing the couple, calling them tacky and ugly, and telling them they're all going to die. Although you can only see her profile in the video, and you can't see her mouth moving, what you can see is her chest rising and falling as she delivers her angry tirade of insults and threats. She then says she's going to call her mafia friend, after which she claims she's going to remove her IV drip so they can get out of the hospital. That's where the clip ends, leaving us wondering if the woman did in fact try to escape, but John doesn't leave us hanging. In his own words, he wrote, "I was no longer filming when she or it started to get up and wanted to take the life of a person sitting next to her. 5 nurses came in to stop her, and we were asked to leave the room quickly. What happened next, John doesn't know." Prior to this experience, John says he was skeptical about demonic possessions and everything related to them, but after seeing one in the flesh, he's a believer. A TikToker paranormal team called Zodiac Supernatural is in the middle of the woods when this wild noise rips through an otherwise still night. Tell me if you can identify this creature, because it sounds massive and furious.
Really cold to be seen.
I can't tell if it's being devoured, letting out a warning call, or just going crazy at their camera lights. I'm surprised that everyone doesn't immediately run away, which makes me wonder if they actually had some idea of what it was and possibly weren't telling us.
So it's really cold to be seen.
Haunting Jersey uploaded a YouTube video of a girl performing various different gymnastics exercises in her kitchen, along with a friend of hers via a Skype or FaceTime call. The two perform one move, complementing each other, then move on to the next, but what started off as a fun and innocent way to pass the time quickly turns into something frightening. Did you guys see that? So it's right here beside the blender. Yes, right here, this object. It's a paper towel holder, I believe. And obviously terrifies this poor girl here.
Yeah, that was loud. What was it?
And it gets the attention of even the person that she's on FaceTime with.
The paper towel holder just fell. Whatever, it's fine. Anyway.
And right as soon as she's back to just brush it off as, you know, whatever, don't know what happened, don't care. This thing right over here falls to the ground and just shatters absolutely everywhere. And I feel like if these were both on strings, wouldn't the paper towel holder have knocked that off at the same time, because both the strings would kind of need to be in the same area? Understandably scared because she just saw something go flying across the room, the girl proceeds to ask her friend if they saw it too, to which they respond saying that they did, and they mention it sounded loud as well. Amazingly though, the girl is actually able to shake off any sort of fears she may have had by saying everything is fine, and she continues on with more exercises. But when it happens for a second time, she immediately runs for the camera and turns it off. Hopefully this was the first and last time this happened to this poor girl, and hopefully if it did persist, they got out of this house. YouTuber Chad Miller found a secret room in the attic of his house. You don't see this every day, he writes. You certainly don't. It looks like Chad is just moving into a new house, and now the fun begins. It's time to explore it. Inside a closet, he finds a ladder-like stairwell leading into a secret hidden room. As he crawls in, you find that it doesn't look like any old attic, unfinished with cobwebs and stacked with unruly odds and ends. Instead, the attic looks well finished with wooden walls, light fixtures, and a nice clean space. It's like a sauna but air conditioned, Chad says. It does in fact look like a sauna. The room is rather large, with all wooden walls and even a couple of wooden benches. What was this super secret room used for? We can only guess. All I know is that I wouldn't mind finding this secret room in my new home. When the paranormal team Cazadores de Sombras went to investigate this ritual site, what they found was a living nightmare. As they approached the site, they find what appears to be a body levitating high above a fire pit.
Que é isso aí, galera?
They later hear something in the surrounding woods.
Sai, mano. Os caras vindo. Os caras gritando, velho. Os caras gritando lá.
Now, back in the safety of their vehicle, they're left to ponder what their eyes saw. Without context, it's difficult to know what's going on here. Is this person being levitated by some dark magic? And for what purpose? I can't provide any insight on this one, but I do know that I'm super creeped out by the events here. This footage was apparently found inside the Penhurst Asylum, which is a real abandoned place located in Pennsylvania. The footage contains two students exploring the clearly abandoned building, and while nothing too bizarre happens in this footage, the backstory and timing are enough to make you scream. The two student explorers were never seen again after this. Well, that is terrifying enough. I want you to focus on the timestamp in the corner. Notice how they are ending up in new spots in the asylum at a faster and faster rate. Near the end of the video, the pair end up in the forest at a rate where the speed they are traveling is simply inhuman. What do you think is happening here? If this footage is real, then it is a case where the happenings would never be believed, if not for it being recorded. A YouTuber named Tracy is recording a video at the Hedingham Castle in England while on vacation with her husband. The voices and footsteps of other visitors easily carry throughout the castle, but it's just good acoustics, and they are not nearly as close as they sound. Anyway, look what happens while Tracy is standing motionless next to her husband in a large room all by themselves.
Sure, but I think I just saw a shadow walk across the wall.
A shadow clearly passes across the wall in front of them, but as Tracy pans the room, you can see that no one else is present. None of the windows or entrances completely line up, yet the shadow looks very human in nature and appears to be coming from directly behind them. A man follows footprints across a vast and frozen landscape at night, with only his camera light to guide him. The sound of each step amplified by crisp fallen snow crushed underfoot. The mysterious footprints trail off at a lone tree, evenly split down the middle. He looks up, 2 peering eyes reflect back at him, and he immediately runs away. The eyes are low and spread apart, so it could be some wildlife, maybe an owl, but that still doesn't explain why the footsteps lead directly to this spot, nor does it explain what happened at 38 seconds, when this creature might close one eye to give a knowing wink. This drone video, taken a couple hours away from Area 51 in Utah, depicts a small cylinder that could possibly be a UFO as it brushes by in a burst of speed. The fast disc approaches at a vertical angle before flipping over and passing the drone on a horizontal axis. This video could be CGI because the drone does not shake at all as it rushes by at a very high rate of speed, or it could be some kind of military application that we were never meant to see. Despite that concern, everything else in this raw footage seems very authentic. Of course, the final possibility that no one wants to accept is that this flying saucer could be from another planet. Jonathan FOD and his friends go exploring an abandoned meat processing facility building that everyone in town says is haunted, but the air quotes around ghost seems to mean he doesn't quite believe it.
So supposedly, there's a ghost that roams around here.
Soon he will.
Oh shit. That.
Hey!
Who's here?
As Jonathan FOD and his 2 friends are ghost hunting in some kind of tool shed, they get what they think could be some paranormal evidence caught on tape.
What the? Bro, y'all heard that, bro? What the fuck is that? Bro. Is anybody there? Oh.
All 3 of them are on camera when these noises happen. You can see they are just standing there with their hands down, so it can't be them. Maybe Jonathan had a 4th person making all of that noise, but I don't see how they could have faked that ghost EVP at 8 minutes and 50 seconds. It really does sound like the muffled voice of a small child.
What the? Bro, y'all heard that, bro? What the fuck is that?
This creepy and unexplained video has been unsettling people since 2016. It starts with a man who looks like he is just goofing around at first by making a weird voice and singing loudly.
힘이 없다는 걸.
His mannerisms become more bizarre and aggressive until finally he is shrieking like a wild animal and destroying the whole room. When he regains his composure and lowers the blinds, you can see that he is standing in the middle of a children's room. There's no sounds of a child though, which makes me wonder if there ever was one to begin with, or if it's been somehow silenced. A YouTuber named Isaiah Fleming makes a YouTube video of himself cleaning his dirty room as motivation to actually get the job done and over with. During the course of this cleaning, the television turns on by itself, which I guess could be explained by accidentally stepping on the remote or something, and the door opens by itself, which is caught on 2 different angles and much harder to explain. The room is looking much cleaner after 2 hours, and he takes a break to go do something else. This next part almost has to be edited because it's literally impossible. Okay, so the door opens at 11:41 at night, and this time without showing any breaks in the timestamp, a childhood stuffed bear disappears from view. Isaiah comes back to find the television changes to one of the cameras he has just set up in the other room. It looks like he is trying to use his remote control, but it's useless. Nothing is there then. With a flash of static, the bear is somehow sitting in the chair. He can't believe what he is witnessing at first, but as he looks to the floor, slowly realizing his house is haunted, he misses this eerie figure watching him through his own screen. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.